Go and get me that water, boy. I want some Dasani. Don't give me any other shit. Million. Now I'm gonna get you when I see you. I'ma spit you better. Give me that good water, or I'll piss in your daughter. Gonna hit you with the beat while I blast it on the street. Don't run away from me, or I'll cut off your feet. Now show me around the place. You'll be where I can wait and see the perfect place for me to stand up so I can shoot you. Then I'll turn around and beat you, throw you off a curve, fast or grab a shirt and some dirt, mix it up and call you fur. Watch that booty turn, grab my dick and insert it, fly away like a bird. Drink some water, it's good for you. Maybe it will prevent you from catching the flu. Look at me now while I'm flexing all this ice. It's frozen in the bottle, you don't wanna take a bite. Looking at her booty, seeing that she was so thick.
Hello everybody, welcome to the stream, hope you enjoy it, thanks for coming by. What's up, Natasha? Jelliot, welcome. How are you today? Johnny, what's up? Welcome. You guys are hyped up? I'm ready for the debate. I'm ready. Ooh, I'm ready. Like Gilbert Arenas, shoot my shot, I'm still with the rings. Ooh. I keep it thorough. I got 5 chicks in New York that mean 1 in each barrel. I get the pocket like Burrow. When I'm back home, although they treat me like Robert De Niro. Alright, yo. We have 9 minutes left until the debate. Nine minutes. So what is everyone's... what are you guys expecting out of this? Like, what do you want to see? What do you think might happen? What do you think might not happen? Best of luck. Best of luck to both of them. Best of luck to both of them. The diamond, the glacier, the cut, and all while she pulled up the fuck me, but nobody called her. She told me that she wasn't feeling my music. I fucked her. She told me it's nobody harder, and I'm with the Chiefski. I need that shit for the free ski. But you're not buying no pussy, you selling on pastry. There's too much work on my celly. I had to go tell all my bitches the email to reach me. You're all in my DM, I follow your BM. She played with the Krosky. We used to fuck on the Lowski. She used to go and lie in my bed and lie to your face and just say, I'm a broski, nigga, you know me. You didn't believe it. You want to see Biden come strong and hate on Trump? Well, we'll see what happens, Natasha. We'll see if he comes in strong. He did ask for 2 breaks. Every 30 minutes or something like that. So like the first 30 minutes, break. Next 30 minutes, break. And then the last 30 minutes. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. I think they asked for something else, but I can't remember exactly what else they asked for. It's right here. It's going to start in 6 minutes. The presidential debate. It's going on, bro. It's going on. John, you don't even know? Man, I don't even know what's gonna happen either. I just know it's a debate, so I just want to see what goes on. See what happens. You never know. Now, I don't do like... I don't usually do political videos or live streams or shit, but this is like the only one I've probably ever done. But just because it is... We are seeing what they want to talk about and their discussions on what they want to do for the country if they become president, and that's what I'm looking for. That's what I want to hear. I want to hear what they both have in stock in their inventory of what they're going to do for this country for the next 4 years if they do become president, either again or the new president of the United States. So I want to see what they both have to say. That's what I'm really looking forward to. 5 minutes left. My one friend, Peter, and I will be watching it together. I think he's gonna be in the party with me, so you'll hear another voice, which is gonna be him. But hopefully you hear the debate louder over him. But we will see what goes on. Yes, Nitasha. Yes. You ain't believe it, you wanted to toast me. I had a semi as long as a ruler in case she was corner and wanna approach me. Jonathan Benteke came back in the column and she wanna fuck again. I want the tongue again. Suck it so deep she's the cough up a lung again. 5-star bitches, they on the run again, run again. Running in diamonds, they illuminating the way that I come again. I just put so many pennies on the watch that I'll never gotta stump again. Nigga, little Tory. Ooh, what's poppin'? Brand new whip just hopped in. Guess what we got on deck? The snack of the night. Raisins. Not sponsored, but maybe one day. Yeah, I agree, Nitasha. Like I said, I just want to see what they both have to say for who becomes the new president, like what they're going to do for the next 4 years. Raisins be good as hell, boy. Sounds good, Nitasha. You about to play some multiplayer? Get it going, John. Get it going. Hello. Hello.
How's it going?
Are you watching? Do you have it on your Xbox right now, or TV or whatever?
Pulling it up on a laptop on ABC.
Sounds good. I'm watching it straight from.
How much time does it say until debate starts for you?
Says it's live right now.
All right,
I'm on Trump's YouTube channel. He's streaming it on his channel.
Oh, alright, I'll take a look so we got the same. Is that gonna get you copyright struck?
No.
Alright.
No, because I did this with something else. It was some other live stream or something, and it did give me a strike. And also because it's free, I'm pretty sure it won't. But we'll see.
Alright. I think if you run it off a different... I feel like after it... Yeah, fair enough. I don't know. I feel like sometimes maybe afterwards, a couple days after they get taken down.
Yeah. I don't know. But we'll see.
Watching it on YouTube on Trump's channel.
Yeah.
What's the name of Trump's channel?
It's just Donald J. Trump.
Oh, alright. Wow, this Google Sheet is making this computer a brick.
Damn, we got a fucking lot of donations coming in. I can't even read it, bro. That shit's going like fast as hell. Tony B from Minnesota for $10. Janet B from Texas for $42. Rebecca K? I can't read it, bro. It's so damn fast. I don't have the eyes for this shit.
Here's Donald J. Trump. I can't find a Donald J. Trump channel that has over like 100 subscribers.
It's literally just Donald space J space Trump, or just type in.
Yeah, I can't find it, bro.
Do you want me to send you the link to it, like through?
Yeah, if you send me it on.
I sent you on Snapchat. I saved it in our chat. It says watch live, first person to debate.
Very cool. Bro, why isn't it showing up? Is YouTube really gonna be that much of a bitch?
Because he has
1.4 million
1.14 million.
subscribers.
Yeah.
Bruh. YouTube slacking. Come on, YouTube.
Sounds
It
good,
will
Johnny.
not
I'll see you when you
show
get
me.
back.
Are you kidding me?
You can text if you guys want to donate and help out our president. Text vote to 88022. Or you can
Gotta be
text
kidding me, bro.
uh
Trump.
it's something else to 30330 for Biden. I can't remember if it's Biden or if it's I think it's a different word. It's not
Yeah,
Biden.
my phone's working, but
It could be Biden. I'm not too sure. I think it's something else.
bro, it will not show me this.
I think it's like Biden. I know the number is 30330, but I don't know what the
Oh
word
shit,
is.
I made my school account. Yep,
But that's up to you guys.
Yep,
Whatever
that
you want
might
to do.
do
If
it.
you want to help
Alright.
with Biden's campaign or Trump's campaign, it's up to you.
Eat.
At 9 p.m. Oh, it's about to start, yo. It's 9 p.m.
Alright. I'm rushing, bro. ABC says, come on, I don't want closed captions. Shut this shit off.
And when can we agree not to argue tonight? Sure, Natasha. I mean, we can debate. I mean, that's not really like arguing. Arguing is like, are you fucking kidding me, bro? Like, what are you doing? I mean, debating is still arguing. It's just a different word for arguing. It's just a debate, kind of, I guess. What's up, Tower? Hello, welcome to the stream. Hope you enjoy it. Thanks for coming by. And oh, I got my first video live from his channel.
Alright, Donald J. Oh, I got it. Alright, cool. People are saying the sound isn't working.
Yeah, I don't hear anything either. It's just quiet right now.
ABC's got it live.
They'll probably fix it up. Nothing's currently happening, so it's all good for now.
They talking shit on Trump, bro. They're saying he got his back against the wall. I don't know about that. Alright, yeah, there is no sound yet because they actually haven't like started talking or anything. They're just setting up. If you're going to ABC stream, they just got commentators talking. Oh. Alright, what are your expectations going into this? Debate?
Okay, so what's gonna I don't know if they allowed Biden for his 30-minute break. Or
I don't think they did.
I don't think so because it's 90 minutes long and there's no commercials. So I don't think they will allow the break. I mean, if Trump's talking, like if they want to bring something out to Biden, like a water or something, like for him to cool down, or a chair or something, they can do that. But I don't think, especially since there's no commercial, so there's really no breaks at all that you can just call a break.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they're gonna do.
And I
with
feel
that.
like if you can't stand up and think straight for 90 minutes, how are you supposed to run a country like this for 4 years?
Well, I don't know. Maybe he's getting it going now.
Yeah,
We'll see.
it's gonna be running on meth for 4 years.
They said he was supposed to get drug tested. Like, what happened? Like, what drugs did he take?
Well, of course the Democratic Party won't say anything, but they wanted to do a drug test, but he was like, no. Which is funny because the Democratic Party was going after Trump, saying that he used Adderall during debates, But as soon as he's like, hey, let's get tests done, they were like, no.
So Trump agreed to a test, but Biden didn't? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, Biden didn't. And same with the earpiece check. They asked for an earpiece check, and
that was
Team
the other
Biden
thing.
declined.
That was the other thing.
Yeah.
Damn, this shit laggy as hell. And there's still no audio either.
I might switch over to... What's ABC looking like?
Yeah.
ABC's looking clean.
It's clean?
And they got audio. Except they got like the, you know how when you're in a restaurant and they got no sound on, but the words show up on screen? They got that.
Oh, I hear it. It's just very fucking low.
Between President Donald J. Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden.
It's so low, bro.
It's laggy, bro. It's YouTube. Go to ABC.
ABC?
ABC's clean.
Alright. I guess we're gonna have to go to ABC. I didn't want to go to ABC, but I guess we're gonna have to.
President Biden.
Why am I not getting sound? Oh, there we go.
How you doing, man? How are you? I'm well.
I'm putting this shit all the way up so I can hear.
Gentlemen, a lot of people have been waiting for this night, so let's get going. Our first subject is the Supreme Court. President Trump, you nominated Amy Coney Barrett over the weekend to succeed the late Ruth Bader Ginsburg on the court. You say the Constitution is clear about your obligation and the Senate's to consider a nominee to the court. Vice President Biden, you say that this is an effort by the president and Republicans to jam through an appointment and what you call an abuse of power. My first question to both of you tonight, why are you right in the argument you make and your opponent wrong? And where do you think a Justice Barrett would take the court? President Trump, in this first segment, you go first, 2 minutes.
Thank you very much, Chris. I will tell you very simply, we won the election. Elections have consequences. We have the Senate, we have the White House, and we have a phenomenal nominee, respected by all, top academic, good in every way, In fact, some of her biggest endorsers are very liberal people from Notre Dame and other places. So I think she's going to be fantastic. We have plenty of time. Even if we did it after the election itself. I have a lot of time after the election, as you know. So I think that she will be outstanding. She's going to be as good as anybody that has served on that court. We really feel that. We have a professor at Notre Dame, highly respected by all, said she's the single greatest student he's ever had. He's been a professor for a long time at a great school. And we won the election, and therefore we have the right to choose her. And very few people knowingly would say otherwise. And by the way, the Democrats, they wouldn't even think about not doing it. If they had, the only difference is they'd try and do it faster. There's no way they would give it up. They had Merrick Garland, but the problem is they didn't have the election, so they were stopped. And probably that would happen in reverse also. Definitely would happen in reverse. So we won the election, and we have the right to do it, Chris.
President Trump, thank you. Same question to you, Vice President Biden. You have 2 minutes.
Well, first of all, thank you for doing this and looking forward to this, Mr. President.
Thank you, Joe.
The American people have a right to have a say in who the Supreme Court nominee is. And that say occurs when they vote for a United States senators and when they vote for the President of the United States. They're not going to get that chance now because we're in the middle of an election already. The election has already started. Tens of thousands of people have already voted. And so the thing that should happen is we should wait. We should wait and see what the outcome of this election is, because that's the only way the American people get to express their view is by who they elect as president and who they elect as vice president. Now, what's at stake here is the
gonna hit you with the beat while I blast it on the street. Don't run away from me or I'll cut off your feet. Now show me around the place you'll be.
I'm getting it for so cheap. It's like water, you want to know the truth. So cheap. Take a look at all of the drugs that what we're doing, prescription drug prices. We're going to allow our governors now to go to other countries to buy drugs because they pay just a tiny fraction.
As I say, this is open discussion.
No,
let
but
me
this
ask
is
you about,
big, this is big stuff.
Sir, you'll be happy. I'm about to pick up on one of your points to ask the Vice President, which is he points out that you would like to add a public option to Obamacare, and
Yes.
the argument that he makes and other Republicans make is that that is going to end private insurance.
It is
and
not.
well, if I can ask you the question, it will
Not what your
end.
party says, by the way.
It will end private insurance and create a government takeover of health care.
It does not. It's only for those people who are so poor they qualify for Medicaid. They can get that free in most states, except governors who want to deny people who are poor Medicaid. Anyone who qualifies for Medicare would Medicaid would automatically be enrolled in the public option. The vast majority of the American people would still not be in that option, number one.
Joe, you
Number
agreed
two.
with Bernie Sanders, who's far left, on the manifesto.
We are back, guys, and also
socialized medicine.
YouTube finally fixed their live stream and stuff, so we're all
The fact of the
good.
matter is, I beat Bernie Sanders.
Not by much.
I beat him a whole hell of a lot. I'm here standing facing you, old buddy.
Pocahontas would have left 2 days early. You would have lost every primary.
All he knows how to
on
do
Super
is hurt.
Tuesday. You got
Look,
very lucky.
here's the deal. I got very lucky. I'm going to get very lucky tonight as well. And tonight I'm going to
With
make
what?
sure because
With what?
here's the deal. Here's the deal. The fact is that everything he's saying so far is simply a lie. I'm not here to call out his lies. Everybody knows he's a liar.
But you
I just
agreed.
want to
Hey,
make
Joe,
sure.
you're the liar.
I want to make sure.
You did last in your class, not first in your class.
I want to make
Mr.
sure.
President, can you let him finish, sir?
No, he doesn't know how to do that. He has,
You'd be
you know,
surprised.
he-
You'd be surprised. Go
the
ahead,
wrong
Joe.
guy, the wrong night at the wrong time.
Listen, you agreed with
Here's the
Bernie
deal.
Sanders to the
The
manifesto.
whole idea.
Let him.
Disavowing.
There is
Oh,
no
God.
manifesto, number
Please
one.
hold us back.
Number two.
You just lost the left.
Number two.
You just lost the left. You agreed with Bernie Sanders on a plan
Folks,
that's absolutely agreed
folks, do you
to,
have any
and under that
idea
plan,
what
that's
this clown's
socialized,
doing?
They call it
Mr.
Do you
Medicare.
have any
President.
Socialized medicine.
Mr.
Well, I
President.
tell you what, he is not for any help for people needing health care because
Bernie?
because he in fact already has cost 10 million people their health care that they had from their employers because of his recession. Number one. Number two,
yeah.
there are 20 million people getting health care through Obamacare now that he wants to take it away. He won't ever look you in the eye and say that's what he wants to do. Take it away.
No, I want to give
Number
them better
three.
health care at a much lower price because
and by the way, he
Obamacare
doesn't
is
know
no
how.
good.
He doesn't know how
I've
to do
already
that.
fixed it.
He has never
I've
offered
already
a plan.
fixed it to an extent.
He has never
Obamacare
done a
is, you
single
might
thing.
know, but
So-
probably don't.
Gentlemen, you realize
So
if you're both
badly
speaking at the same
done.
time,
And it's too expensive.
let the president. Go ahead, sir.
Obamacare is no good. We made it better, and I had a choice to
This
make
is
very
going
early on.
way
We
better
took away
than I
the
even
individual
expected.
mandate. We guarantee pre-existing conditions, but took away the individual mandate.
Did you get your stream back up?
Listen,
Yeah,
this is
it's
the
all
way
good.
it is. And that destroyed.
Alright, cool.
That they shouldn't even call it Obamacare. Then I
How
had
many
a
viewers
choice
you
to
got?
make. Do I let my
3.
people run it really well
All right, cool.
or badly? If I run it badly, they'll probably blame him, but they'll blame me. But more importantly, I want to help people. Okay? I said you got to run it so well.
That's what he's
And I
known
just had a meeting with them. They said the problem is no matter how well you run Obamacare, it's a disaster. It's too expensive.
I got you.
Premiums
I
are
got
too
it.
high, and
That's
it
what his
doesn't work.
people- that's what
So
his people
we
said.
do want to get rid of it.
It's
Chris,
an
we
open
want to get rid of it.
I
and
understand
give
it, sir, but
something
I have
that's
to. I
cheaper
have to
and
give you
better.
roughly equal time.
Good.
Please let the vice president talk.
Good.
He has no plan for health care. Of
course we do.
Please.
He sends out wishful thinking. He has executive orders that have no power. He hasn't lowered drug costs for anybody. He's been promising a health care plan since he got elected. He has none, like almost everything else he talks about. He does not have a plan. He doesn't have a plan. And the fact is, this man doesn't know what he's talking about.
All right.
He's
I
against it.
have one final question for you,
Sure.
Mr. Vice President. If Senate Republicans, we were talking originally about the Supreme Court here, if Senate Republicans go ahead and confirm Justice Barrett, There has been talk about ending the filibuster or even packing the court, adding to the 9 justices there. You call this a distraction by the president, but in fact, it wasn't brought up by the president. It was brought up by some of your Democratic colleagues.
They're both
in
all three of them are being pretty freaking immature, but I just feel bad for the moderators.
Are you willing to tell the American people tonight whether or not you will support either ending the filibuster or packing the court?
Whatever position I take on that, that'll become the issue. The issue is the American people should speak. You should go out and vote. You're in voting now. Vote and let your senators know how strongly you feel. Vote now.
Are you going to pack the
Make
court?
sure you, in fact, let people know
He doesn't want
you're
to answer the
senator.
question.
I'm not going to answer the question.
Yeah, he said he doesn't understand the question.
The question is,
Justice,
the
radical
question-
left.
Will you shut up, man?
Listen, who is on your list, Joe?
This
Who's
is
on your
so
list?
Gentlemen, I think
This
we've
is
ended
so
this.
He's going to pack the
unpresidential.
court.
That
We
is-
have
We're not going to give a list.
We have ended this segment. We're going to move on to the second segment.
That was really a productive segment, wasn't it? Keep yapping, man.
The people understand, Joe.
They sure do.
47 years you've done nothing. They understand.
All right.
Now
The
he's looking at the
second
camera.
subject is COVID-19, which is an awfully serious subject. So
He said, keep yapping, man.
let's try to be serious about it. We have had more than 7 million cases of coronavirus in the United States, and more than 200,000
Wait, are you watching this
people
way ahead of me?
have
Yes.
died. Even after we
think
produce
I'm like 30
a
seconds ahead.
vaccine, experts say that it could
Bro,
be
did you just tell him to
months
shut
or
up?
even years
Yeah.
before we come back to anything approaching normal. My question for both of you is, based on what you have said and done so far and what you have said you would do starting in 2021, why should the American
I need you
people
watching this
trust
shit
you
live.
more than your opponent to deal with this public health crisis going forward? In this case, the question goes to you first, sir. 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Good luck. 200,000 dead. As you said, over 7 million infected in the United States. We, in fact, have 5%, 4% of the world's population, 20% of the deaths. 40,000 people a day are contracting COVID. In addition to that, about between 750 and 1,000 people a day are dying. When he was presented with that number, he said, it is what it is. Well, it is what it is because you are who you are. That's why it is. The president has no plan.
You said something about
He
public
hasn't
health
laid
crisis
out
going forward.
anything.
Is that about
He
where you
knew
are?
all the way back in February how
No,
serious
I'm on
this
the next segment.
crisis was. He knew it was a deadly disease. What did he do?
You kidding?
He's on
What
tape
is-
as acknowledging he knew it. He said he didn't tell us or give people a warning of it
Bruh.
because he didn't want to panic the American people. You don't panic. He panicked. In addition to
believe
that,
Joe
what did he
just
do?
lost his
He went
shit.
in and we were insisting that the Chinese, the people we had on the
Wait
ground in
another
China
hour
should
of
be
this,
able to go to
too.
Wuhan and determine for themselves how dangerous this was.
I'll wait you 20
He
minutes.
did not even ask Xi
Whoa.
to do that. He told us what a great job Xi was doing. He said we owe him a debt of gratitude for being so transparent with us. And what did he do then? He then did nothing. He waited and waited and waited. He still doesn't have a plan.
Wrong.
I laid out
Sir,
back
it's
in
his 2
March
minutes.
exactly
it's so
what we
wrong.
should be doing. And I laid out again in July what we should be doing. We should be providing all the protective gear possible. We should be providing the money the House has passed in order to be able to go out and get people the help they need to keep their businesses open. Open schools, it costs a lot of money. You should get out of your bunker and get out of the sand trap and get in your golf course and go in the Oval Office and bring together the Democrats and Republicans
Right
and
at the
fund
people
what
on the
needs to
ground
be
in
done
China
now to
thing.
save lives.
So if we would have listened to
You
you,
have 2 minutes, sir.
if we would have listened to you, the country would have been left wide open. Millions of people would have died, not 200,000, and one person is too much. It's China's fault. It should have never happened. They stopped it from going in, but it was China's fault. And by the way, when you talk about numbers, you don't know how many people died in China. You don't know how many people died in Russia. You don't know how many people died in India. They don't exactly give you a straight count, just so you understand. But if you look at what we've done, I closed it, and you said he's xenophobic. He's a racist, and he's xenophobic because you didn't think I should have
unrelated to
closed
your
our country.
COVID.
No, just
Wait a
start.
minute.
It's his 2 minutes.
You didn't think we should have closed our country because you thought it was terrible. You wouldn't have closed it for another 2 months. By my doing it early, in fact, Dr. Fauci said, President Trump saved thousands of lives. Many of your Democrat governors said, President Trump did a phenomenal job. We worked with the governor. Oh, really? Go take a look. The governors said I did a phenomenal job. Most of them said that. In fact, people that would not be necessarily on my side said that. President Trump did a phenomenal job. We did. We got the gowns. We got the masks. We made the ventilators. You wouldn't have made ventilators. And now we're weeks away from a vaccine. We're doing therapeutics already. Fewer people are dying when they get sick. Far fewer people are dying. We've done a great job. The only thing I haven't done a good job, and that's because of the fake news. No matter what you say to them, they give you bad press on it. It's just fake news. They give you good press. They give me bad press because that's the way it is, unfortunately. But let me just tell you something. I don't care.
That's the way it is.
But I'll tell you, Joe, you could never have done the job that we did. You don't have it in your blood. You could have never done that job.
I know how to do the job. I know how to get the job
Well, you
done.
didn't do very well in swine flu. H1N1, you were a disaster. Your own chief of staff said you were a disaster.
14,000 people died, not 200,000. There was no economic recession.
Sir, you made a
there was no recession.
You made a point. Let him answer.
And there was we didn't shut down the economy. This is his economy he's shut down. The reason it's shut down is because, look, you folks at home, how many of you got up this morning and had an empty chair at the kitchen table because someone died of COVID? How many of you were in a situation where you lost your mom or dad and you couldn't even speak to them? You had a nurse holding a phone up so you could, in fact, say goodbye.
You would have lost far more people.
And
you would have been.
And by the way,
his
own CDC director says we could lose as many as another 200,000 people between now and the end of the year. And he held up. He said, if we just wear a mask, we can save half those numbers. Just a mask. And by the way, in terms of the whole notion of a vaccine. We're for a vaccine, but I don't trust him at all, nor do you. I know you don't. What we trust is a scientist.
You don't
we
trust
Dr.
Johnson
Fauci.
Johnson, Pfizer?
Okay,
by the way,
gentlemen, let me move on to questions about the future, because you both have touched on one of the two
Before they go into the next topic,
focusing
hello, Simple Lord, welcome to the stream.
You have
Hard to watch.
either contradicted
back
or
and forth,
been at
notations,
odds
back
with
and
some
forth.
of your government's own top scientists. The week before last, the head of the Centers for Disease Control, Dr. Redfield, said it would be summer before the vaccine would become generally available to the public. You said that he was confused and mistaken. Those were your two words.
Yeah.
But Dr. Slaoui, the head of your Operation Warp Speed, has said exactly the same thing. Are they both wrong?
Well, I've spoken to the companies, and we can have it a lot sooner. It's a very political thing because people like this would rather make it political than save lives. It is a very political thing. I've spoken to Pfizer. I've spoken to all of the people that you have to speak to. We have great Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, and others. They can go faster than that by a lot. Become very political because the left, or I don't know if I call them left, I don't know what I call them.
The head of your Operation Warp Speed, Dr. Slaoui?
I disagree with him. Yeah, no, I disagree with both of them. And he didn't say that. He said it could be there, but it could also be much sooner. I had him in my office 2 days ago.
He talked about the summer, sir, before it's generally available. Just like
he said it's a possibility that we'll have the answer before November 1st. It could also be after
when it's
that.
generally available.
Well, we're going to deliver it right away. We have the military all set up. Logistically, they're all set up.
They did say 100.
Military that delivers soldiers.
They did say 100 million vaccines by the end of the year, or something like that.
This is the same man.
It's
I believe
set
it.
up.
By Easter, this would be gone away. By the warm
I think I'm
weather,
a
it'd
good
be
guy.
gone.
I used to- I
Miraculous,
don't
like a
understand
miracle.
where I'm getting
And
this
by the way,
live
maybe you
from.
could inject some bleach in your arm, and that would
It's
take
saying
care
that
of
I'm
it.
live.
This is the
That
same
was
man.
said sarcastically,
That was
and you
him.
know that.
I-
That
I-
was said
Yeah.
sarcastically.
And so here's the deal. This man is talking about a vaccine. Every serious company is talking about maybe having a vaccine done by the end of the year. But the distribution of that vaccine will not occur until sometime beginning or the middle of next year to get it out, if we get the vaccine. And pray God we will. Pray God we will.
Mr. Vice President, I want to pick up
You'll have
on
the
that.
vaccine
I
sooner
want to
than
pick
that.
up on this question, though. You say the public can trust the scientists, but they can't trust President Trump. In fact, you said that again tonight. Your running mate, Senator Harris, goes further, saying the public
Biden just
health
pulled the
experts,
bleach
quote,
card?
will be muzzled, will be suppressed.
How long ago did you
Given
hear
the
that?
fact
Like,
that
how
polls
much longer
already
was it
show
now?
Like 30
that
seconds ago.
people are concerned about the vaccine
Around
and are
3:45.
reluctant to take it, are you
Jeez.
and your running mate, Senator Harris,
This shit's
contributing to that fear?
No more than the question you just asked him. You pointed out. He puts pressure. and disagrees with his own scientists.
But you're saying
Everybody-
you
And are you
Senator
using
Harris is
ABC?
saying you can't trust the scientists.
No, you can trust the scientists. She didn't say that. You can't trust
She said the public health
Did say
experts,
that.
quote, will be muzzled, will be suppressed.
Well, that's what he's going to try to do. But there's millions of scientists, there's thousands of scientists out there, like here at this great hospital, that don't work for him. Their job doesn't depend on him. That's not. They're the people. And by the way,
I spoke to the
and
scientists that are in charge.
By the way,
they will have the vaccine very soon.
Let him finish.
Do you believe for a moment what he's telling you in light of all the lies he's told you about the whole issue relating to COVID? He still hasn't even acknowledged
He's going for the public mob
that
tactic.
He knew this was happening, knew how dangerous it was going to be back in February, and he didn't even tell you. He's on record as saying it. He panicked or he just looked at the stock market, one of the two, because guess what? A lot of people died, and a lot more are going to die unless he gets a lot smarter, a lot quicker.
So-
Mr. President?
Did you use the
Are they
word
supposed to
smart?
talk about BLM tonight?
So you said you went to Delaware State, but you forgot the name of your college. You didn't go to Delaware State. You graduated either the lowest or almost the lowest
just
in your
kicked me.
class. Don't ever use the word
kidding me?
smart with me. Don't ever use that word.
Oh, give me a break.
Because you know what? There's nothing smart about you, Joe. 47 years you've done nothing.
let's have this debate.
And if
We'll
you
see
would have
who's
had, let me just tell you something, Joe.
No,
If you would have had the charge of what I was put through, I had to close the greatest economy in the history of our country.
Hopefully it
And
just
by the way,
calmed me
now
out.
it's being built
He just
again.
fucking
And it's going
came
up
at him
economy
because he
in the
said
next segment,
smart.
Okay.
It's going up fast.
Okay.
Look forward to it.
When it
Oh,
comes
yeah.
to how
All right,
the
sorry.
virus has been
All right, I caught up.
handled so
Thanks.
far, the two of you have taken
that
very
was like
different approaches, and this
25
is going
seconds
to
ago.
affect how the virus is handled going forward by whichever of you ends up becoming the next president.
Holy
I want to
shit.
quickly go through several of those.
He just called him a
Reopenings.
dumbass.
Vice President Biden, you have been much more reluctant than President Trump about reopening the economy and schools. Why, sir?
Because he doesn't have a plan. If I were running, I'd know what the plan is. You've got to provide these businesses the ability to have the money to be able to reopen with the PPE as well as with the sanitation they need. You have to
Tell
provide
that
them
to Nancy
plastic.
Pelosi.
I agree
Well,
with
he's
what
just
Biden's
shushed
saying
for a
about that.
Tell it to Nancy Pelosi.
Bro,
And
what?
Schumer,
By the
Brian
way,
Chuck.
Nancy Pelosi and Schumer, they have a plan.
But it's mostly his side
Biden's
of
saying about that
the
thing he's going to
Republicans
say in
won't
30
leave him on the
seconds.
Senate. And he,
Yeah.
sits on his golf course. And, well, I mean, literally, think about it.
I'd be better off
Probably
watching
more
your
than I do,
stream,
Joe.
bro.
What about this question of reopenings and the fact
Well, he wants to shut down this country.
Oh.
And I want to keep it open. And we did a
he
great
just
thing by
admitted
shutting
he
it
shut
down.
it down.
Wait a minute,
Let
Joe.
him
Let me
finish,
shut
sir.
you down for a second, Joe, just for 1 second. He wants to shut down the country.
So
We
let me just
went
shut you
through it.
down real
We had
quick.
to because we didn't know anything about the disease. Now we found
Can you
that
just
elderly
shush for a
people
minute,
with
bro?
heart problems and diabetes and different problems are very, very vulnerable. We learned a lot. Young
Yeah.
children aren't. Even younger people aren't. We've learned a lot. But he wants to shut it down. More people will be hurt by continuing. If you look at Pennsylvania, if you look at certain states that have been shut down, they have Democrat governors all. One of the reasons they're shut down is because they
Tom
want to keep
Wolf.
it shut down until after the election.
Oh, yeah.
All right,
On November
I want to
3rd.
move on to another
Because
subject.
it's a
I want to move
political
on to another
threat.
subject.
gotta respond.
With those-
Trump is forcing, it's not Trump. Wolf is forcing his state into BDSM.
Which has
right
got to
now.
respond to that.
Wants
President
to shut
Trump,
down the
you
whole
have
country.
begun to increasingly question the effectiveness of masks as a disease preventer. And
All
in
right, so
fact,
Trump's
recently you
talking,
cited the
but I'm
issue
seeing
of
Biden's mouth
waiters
moving.
touching their masks and touching plates. Are you
I wasn't even
questioning
paying
No, I
attention
think
to
the
him.
masks are
efficacy
okay.
of
You have to
masks?
understand, if you look, I mean, I
I
have a
don't know how
mask
bad
right
my
here.
leg
I
is.
put a mask on, when I think I need it. Tonight, as an example, everybody's had a test, and you've had social distancing and all of the things that you have to, but I
Just
wear
like your
masks
rallies.
when needed. When
They just
needed,
moved on
I
to
wear
another
masks.
section.
Okay, let me ask.
I don't wear
Yeah,
masks
well, I mean, it
like
wasn't like
him.
another
Every time
section.
you
He
see
just
him, he's
asked
got a
another
mask. He
question,
could be
but yeah.
speaking
Yeah.
200
Now
feet
he's talking
away
about the
from me, and he
masks.
shows up with the biggest mask I've ever seen. I will say
Vice
this.
President Biden, go ahead, sir.
Look, the way to open businesses is give them the wherewithal to be able to open. We provided money. The
But I was asking you, sir, about masks.
Well, masks make a big difference. His own head of the CDC said if we just wore masks between now, everybody wore masks in social distance between now and January, we'd probably save up to 100,000 lives. It matters.
And they've also said the opposite. They've also said
no serious person said the opposite.
Well, look
serious.
at Dr. Fauci. Dr. Fauci said the opposite.
He did not say the opposite.
We got a little bit more than a minute left in this segment.
Masks are not good. Then he changed his mind. He said masks good. I'm okay with masks. I'm not fighting masks.
Why don't you start every sentence with look?
Your different approaches has even affected the way that you have campaigned. President Trump, you're holding large rallies with crowds packed together, thousands of people. Outside, yes, sir, agreed. Vice President Biden, you are holding much smaller events with
nobody will show up.
People with
nobody shows up to his event.
All right. In any case, why you holding the big rallies? Why you not? You go first, sir.
Because people want to hear what I have to say. I mean,
but are you not
I've done
worried
a great
about
job as a president, and I'll have 35,000 people show up at airports.
Biden laughing,
we use
bro.
airports.
Are you not worried about
we
the
have a
disease
lot of
issues,
people.
sir?
Well, so far we have had no problem whatsoever. It's outside. That's a big difference, according to the experts. And we do them outside. We have tremendous crowds, as you see. I mean, and literally on 24 hours notice. And Joe does the circles and has 3 people someplace.
Okay. By the way, did you see one of the last big rallies he had? And a reporter came up to him to ask him a question. He said, no, stand back. Put on your mask. Put on a mask. Have you been tested? I'm way far away from those other people. That's what he said. I can't. I'm going to be okay. He's not worried about you. He's not worried about the people out there breathing in one another.
We've had no negative effect.
No negative effect.
We've had no negative effect. And we've had 35,000, 40,000 people at these rallies.
Just quickly finish up because I want to move on to our next.
Yes, I would. He's been totally irresponsible the way in which he has handled the social distancing and people wearing masks, basically encouraged them not to.
All right.
Ben, he's a fool on this.
If you could get the crowds, you would have done the same thing. But you can't.
Yeah, Natisha, I agree.
Can we move on to the economy? Gentlemen, can we move on to the economy?
Yes.
The economy is, I think it's fair to say, recovering faster than expected from the shutdown.
Much faster.
In the second quarter, the unemployment rate fell to 8.4%.
Yo, what's up, Sam? Welcome to the stream, man. Hope you enjoy it. Thanks for coming by.
The Federal Reserve says the hit to growth, which is going to be there, is not going to be nearly as big as they had expected. President Trump, you say we are in a V-shaped recovery. Vice President Biden, you say it's more of a K-shape. What difference does that mean to the American people in terms of the economy? President Trump, in this segment, you go first.
Neo-Nazis and white supremacists came from the Democratic Party, which was
reached the economy,
and
which was very hard psychologically to do. He didn't think we should close it down, and he was wrong. And again, 2 million people would be dead now instead of still
Confederates.
204,000 people.
Confederates of the Democratic Party, they evolved into the KKK and things like that.
But what happened is we closed it down, and now we're reopening, and we're doing record business. We had 10.4 million people in a 4-month period that we've put back into the workforce. That's a record the likes of which
I never heard about that
seen
Charlottesville
before.
incident
And
with
he wants
that
to
girl,
close
Heather
down.
Heyer.
He will
I have to
shut
look
it
into
down
that.
again. He will destroy this country. You know, a lot of people, between drugs and alcohol and depression, when you start shutting it down, you take a look at what's happening in some of your Democrat-run states where they have these tough shutdowns. And I'm telling you, it's because they don't want to open it. One of them came out last week. You saw that. Oh, we're going to open up on November 9th. Why November 9th? Because it's after the election. They think they're hurting us by keeping them closed. They're hurting people. People know what to do. They can social distance. They can wash their hands. They can wear masks. They can do whatever they want. But they got to open these states up. When you look at North Carolina, when you look, and these governors are under siege, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and a couple of others, you got to open these states up. It's not fair. You're talking about almost it's like being in prison. And you look at what's going on with divorce, look at what's going on with alcoholism and drugs. It's a very, very sad thing. And he'll close down the whole country. This guy will close down the whole country and destroy our country. Our country is coming back incredibly well, setting records as it does it. We don't need somebody to come in and say, let's shut it down.
All right. Your 2 minutes, sir. We're now moved to you. As I said, posing the question, the president says it's a V-shaped recovery. You say it's a K-shaped recovery. What's the difference?
The difference is
Pennsylvania, bro.
millionaires and billionaires like him in the middle of the COVID crisis have done very well.
I'm pro-life.
Billionaires have made another $300 billion
Pro-life.
because of his profligate tax proposal, and he only focused on the market. But you folks at home, you folks living in Scranton and Claymont and all the
He's
small
using that
towns and
tactic
working
again.
class towns in America. How old are
The
you?
mom tactic where he looks into
This
the
guy
camera and he
pays
talks
well.
to
$750
everybody
in
else,
taxes.
but the person who's debating.
Yeah, I understand. You've agreed to the 2 minutes, so please let him have it.
Do I get my time back?
What the hell is a
fact is
K-shaped
that
recovery?
He is, in
Does this
fact,
dude
worked
know what a
on
line
this in
is?
a way that he's going to be the first president of the United States to leave office having fewer jobs in his administration than when he became president. Fewer jobs than when he became president. First one in American history. Secondly, the people who have lost their jobs are those people who have been on the front lines, those people who have been saving our lives, those people who have been out there dying, people who've been putting
Veterans?
themselves in the way to make sure that we could all try to make it. And the idea that he is insisting
Doctors?
that we go forward and
Cops?
open when you have almost half the states in America with a
Firefighters?
significant increase in COVID deaths and
Why does this
COVID
dumbass look
cases
above the
in the
camera?
United States of America. And he wants to open it up more. Why does he want to open it up? Why doesn't
is he looking
take
for
care of
birds
the
or
America?
like-
You can't fix the economy until you fix the COVID crisis. And he has no intention of doing anything about making it better for you all at home in terms of your health and your safety. Schools. Why aren't schools open? Because it costs a lot of money to open them safely. You know, they were going to give, his administration was going to give the teachers and school students masks. And then they decided, no, couldn't do that because it's not a national emergency. Not a national emergency. They've done nothing to help small businesses. Nothing. They're closing.
Bro,
1
my
in 6
snap is
now
blowing
gone.
up.
He ought to get on the job and take care of the needs of the American people so we can open safely.
All right, your time is up, sir. We are going to get to.
I have to respond to that.
I mean, I'm pretty sure,
You've got 2 minutes, sir.
like,
Excuse me, he made a statement.
So did you.
People
things can
want their
open, they
schools-
just
no,
have to
people
be
want their
safe.
schools open.
Just use
They
hand
don't want to be
sanitizer
shut
and
down.
masks
They
and
don't
shit.
want their state shut down. They want their restaurants. I look at New York. It's so sad what's happening in New York. It's almost like a ghost town, and I'm not sure it can ever recover what they've done in New York. People want their places open. They want to get back to their lives.
People
They'll
want
be
to be
careful,
safe.
but they want their schools open.
People want
I'm
to
the
be
one that
safe.
brought back football. By the way, I brought back Big Ten football.
You said
It
1
was
in 6
me,
what is
and
that?
I'm very happy to do it. And
All right,
people of
let's-
Ohio are very proud of me. And you know
We're
how
going
I
to get
found
back.
out? When he took
Gentlemen,
a phony
we're going to
ad.
get to your economic plans going forward in a moment. But first, Mr. President, as you well know, there's a new report that in 2016, the year you were elected president, and 2017, your first year as president, that you paid $750 a year in federal income tax.
It is,
each of those
I agree with
years.
Sam saying it is both sides.
I know that you pay a lot of other taxes, but I'm asking you the specific question. Is it true that you pay
brought back football,
$750
bro.
in federal income taxes each of those 2 years?
I paid millions of dollars in taxes, millions of dollars of income tax. And let me just tell you, there was a story in one of the papers.
Show us your tax
I paid
return.
$38
But then again,
million
that t-shirt,
1 year.
it does go back to the
I paid
argument
$27
of
million
Show us your tax
she should
return.
just never
I
had
went-
sex in the
Can you
first
please?
place.
You'll see it as soon
If
as
we're
it's
talking about
finished. You'll see
consensual
it.
sex,
You
things
know
like
what you
that.
wanna do? Go to the
Yeah.
Board of
Oh,
Elections.
taxes?
There's
They're
a
bringing up the
118
taxes, but
page
not
or so
Obamagate?
report
Are you
that says
kidding?
everything I have, every bank I have, I'm totally under leveraged because the assets are extremely good, and we have a very, I built a
Sir,
great
I'm asking
company.
you a specific question, which
But
is...
let me tell you-
I understand all of that.
Release your
I
tax
understand all of that.
return. But let me-
No, Mr. President,
Go ahead.
I'm asking you a question. Will you tell us how much you paid in federal income taxes in 2016 and 2017?
Millions of dollars.
You paid millions of dollars?
Millions of dollars.
So
yes.
not 750?
Millions of dollars, and you'll get to see it. And you'll get to see
When?
it. But let
In
me just
Shala?
tell you, Chris, let me just tell you something, that it was the tax laws. I don't want to pay tax. Before I came here, I was a private developer. I was a private business people. Like every other private person, unless they're stupid, they go through the laws, and that's what it is. He passed a tax bill that gave us all these privileges for depreciation and for tax credits. We build a building and we get tax credits, like the hotel on Pennsylvania Avenue. You get a massive, which, by the way, was given to me by the Obama administration, if you can believe that. Now, the man got fired right after that happened. But
Vice President Biden, you want to respond?
Yeah, I do want to respond. Look, the
Biden
tax
saying?
code that made him put him in a position that he pays less tax than a school teacher makes, on the money a school teacher makes, is because of him he says he's smart because he can take advantage of the tax code. And he does take advantage of the tax code. That's why I'm going to eliminate the Trump tax cuts. And I'm going to eliminate those tax cuts and make sure that we invest in the people who, in fact, need the help. People out there need help.
But why didn't you do it over the last 25 years?
Because you weren't president. Because you weren't president screwing things up.
You were a senator.
You're the worst president America has ever had.
Hey,
Come
Joe,
on.
let me just tell you, Joe. I've done more in 47 months. I've done more than you've done in 47 years, Joe. We've done things that you never even thought of doing, including fixing the broken military that you gave me, including taking care of your vets.
Mr. President, we're talking about the economy. I'd like to ask you about your plans going forward because, Mr. Vice President, your economic plan, if you were to be elected president,
guys, I'm gonna keep the debate on. You guys watch it. I'll be right back and go wash my face up real quick. Open my nostrils because I can't fucking breathe right. I feel like congested.
Over a decade in new taxes on individuals making more
Bro,
than
Biden is
$400,000 a year and on corporations.
Yo, I'll be right back. I gotta go.
That kind of an increase in taxes is going to hurt the economy as it's just coming out of a recession.
Well, just take a look at what the analysis done by Wall Street firms. Points out that my economic plan would create 7 million more jobs than his in 4 years, number one. And number two, it would create an additional $1 trillion in economic growth because it would be about buying American. That we're going to make the federal government spend $600 billion a year on everything from ships to steel to buildings and the like. And under my proposal, we're going to make sure that every penny of that has to be made by a company.
But respectfully, sir, I'm talking about taxes, not spending.
By the way, I'm going to eliminate a significant number of the tax. I'm going to make the corporate tax 28%. It shouldn't be 21%. You have 91 companies, in the Fortune 500 who don't pay a single penny in tax, making billions of dollars.
Why didn't you do it before when you were vice president with Obama?
Because you, in fact, passed that. That was your tax proposal.
I got it done, and you know what happened?
Yeah, you got it done.
Our economy boomed like it's never boomed.
The economy is
Mr. President, Mr. President, let me pick up on that. You would continue your free market approach, lower taxes, more deregulation, correct?
Not lower taxes for American people.
Excuse me.
But in Obama's, you talk about the economy booming. It turns out that in Obama's final 3 years as president, more jobs were created, 1.5 million more jobs than in the first 3 years of your presidency.
They had the slowest recovery since economic recovery since 1929. It was the slowest recovery. Also,
I'm all good.
They
I'm
took
back.
over something that was down here. All you had to do is turn on the lights and you pick up a lot. But they had the
I'm back.
slowest economic recovery since 1929. Let me tell you about the stock market. When the stock market goes up, that means jobs. It also means
All right, let me read these
401k.
comments real quick.
This is a bloodbath.
If you ever became president with your ideas, you want
knows?
to terminate my taxes, I'll tell you what, you'll lose half of the companies that have poured in here.
I was
will
watching.
leave, and
What's up,
plenty of
Owen? Welcome to the
companies that are
stream.
already here. They'll leave
Hardly
for
any
other
companies
places.
have
They will
poured in
leave,
here.
and you will have a depression the likes of
It's all
which
good,
you've
Owen. It's all
never
good.
seen.
Welcome to the stream. As long as you are here.
The worst recession, short of a depression, in American history. I was asked to bring it back. We were able to.
Yeah, that's what we're saying,
economic
Natasha.
recovery
We're saying that if the girl is
talking
pregnant
about. We handed him a
and
booming
they don't want the
economy.
baby,
He blew it.
It wasn't
instead of
booming.
killing a
It wasn't
human,
booming.
just have the baby and just put them up for adoption, like so they can live their own life. That's why we're pro-choice, because we want the baby to actually live a life that they were given. That's the reason why pro-choice people choose that option.
Manufacturing went in the hole. Manufacturing went in the hole.
Excuse
number
me,
one.
Chris. Wait.
Number two.
Chris,
Number three.
What's up, Charlotte? Welcome to the stream. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks for coming by.
No.
Chris, they said it would
This
take a
guy,
miracle to bring back manufacturing. I brought back 700,000 jobs.
They're
They
right.
brought back nothing. They gave up on manufacturing.
We
Part
did
of
not
my
agree.
standard fare.
Well, I'm on the
totally
right,
gave up
so
on
that's who I'm voting for.
We brought back, I was asked to bring back Chrysler and General Motors. We brought them back right here in the state of Ohio and Michigan. He blew it. They're gone. He blew it. And in fact, they're going.
Ohio had the best year it's ever had last year. Michigan had the best year they've ever had.
That is not true.
How is Joe Biden putting out tweets mid-debate, besides the fact that he doesn't run his own social media?
Mr. Vice President,
His team probably does it for him.
Take a look at what he's actually done. He's done very little. His trade deals are the same way. He talks about these great trade deals. You know, he talks about the art of the deal. China's perfected the art of the steal.
Just tweeted, Donald Trump is the worst president we've ever had.
Before. We have the highest trade deficit with Mexico.
Your lunch, down 18%. China ate your lunch, Joe. And
Well, he's
no
been
wonder
tweeting
your
through the
son
whole
goes
thing.
in and he takes out billions of dollars. Takes out billions of dollars to manage. He makes millions of dollars. And also, while we're at it, why is it, just out of curiosity, the mayor of Moscow's wife gave your son $3.5 million. What did he do to deserve it? What did he do with Burisma to deserve $183,000?
You've asked your question, let him answer.
None of that is true.
Oh, really? He didn't
Totally
get $3.5 million?
Mr. President,
It's totally
Biden's talking about China.
discredited. Totally discredited. And by the way,
Well, wait, he didn't get $3.5 million, Joe?
Mr. Vice
He got
Mr.
$3.5 million.
it is not true.
Oh, really?
Mr. President, it's an open discussion, please.
Now,
It's a fact.
Well,
It
you
is
have
not
raised
a
an
fact.
issue. Let the Vice President answer.
Discredited.
Did
There was a
Burisma pay him
report.
$183,000
Oh, he's pulling off with the
a month?
hunter card.
With
This is
no
where it goes
experience
down.
in energy?
Mr.
Look,
President,
job.
My son did nothing wrong at Burisma.
I think he did.
and
Mr.
the only
President,
guy that
let
did
him
something-
answer.
He doesn't want to let me answer because he knows I have the truth. His position has been totally, thoroughly discredited.
who?
And
The media?
By everybody. Well, by the media, by our
because they refuse to
allies,
talk
by the
about it
World
because they're
Bank,
embarrassed.
by everyone has discredited. Matter of fact, even the
President,
people who
please stop.
testified under oath.
So let me
under
ask you
oath,
this, Joe.
under
No,
No, go ahead, Mr. I'm listening to
even
you.
People under,
He got $3.5 million from
testified-
Moscow.
Trump is
he testified
vicious.
under oath in his administration, said, I did my job and I did it very well.
Oh,
I
really?
did it
I'd like to
honorably.
Trump's taking that other tactic where he
I'll
talks
give you the
over,
list of
tries to
those
take
who
control.
testified.
Go ahead, sir.
Sure, you've already fired most of them because they did a
But
But
good
he's
job.
so
people
dominant,
don't-
everybody just shuts up.
Yeah, that's the thing.
They
That's
start
his
throwing
tactic.
sentences. As soon as
Well, it's
they
hard to
hear
get
his voice and they
anywhere
start
with this
throwing.
clown. Excuse me.
Trump
this-
uses the
interesting.
aggressive tactic where he just
Mr. President,
screams and like continues talking to
That is
get his
simply-
point
Why did
across.
he deserve
Yeah,
$3.5 million
but
from
when everybody's
Moscow?
talking over each other,
Here's the deal.
everybody starts
We
stuttering
wanna
and
talk
saying the
about
same sentence over and
families
over again.
and ethics.
He's the only one that's putting
I don't
together
wanna
full
do that.
thoughts while
I
he's
mean,
talking
his
over
family
people.
we could talk about all night. His family's
My
already.
family,
let him go.
my family
already
lost
wrote-
a fortune by coming down and helping
Go
us
ahead.
with
Go ahead,
government.
sir.
And that's such a.
they're right
that's a-
here.
Mr.
that's such a
Every
great-
single one of them lost
This
a
is not
fortune
about
President.
my
coming and
family or
helping
his
us
family.
with
It's
government.
about your family,
They
the
didn't
American
collect
people.
$3.5 million.
And there goes Biden's
That's not
tactic where
true.
he
It
talks about our
doesn't
family.
want
He's,
to talk
he's using
about
public mob.
what you need,
tactic.
you, the American people.
Whoa, we called him a
It's about
clown again,
you.
bro?
That's what we're talking about
you
here.
should
All right,
Not
that's the end of the
Shouldn't
segment.
take
We're,
the money.
we're moving on.
He didn't take them.
Well,
Vice
it's a very-
President,
but Chris,
no,
can I be honest? It's a very important
Try to be
question.
honest.
No,
He stood up.
No,
He stood up.
the answer to
and
the
he
question is
threatened
no.
you.
He said the answer to the question is no.
You know what? You're
Yeah, you don't get the ad.
Take doing it.
Weird as fuck.
Gentlemen,
Yeah.
I hate to raise my voice,
he's
but
on
it seems to be, why shouldn't I be different than the two of you? So here's the deal.
good point.
We have 6 segments. We have ended that segment. We're going to go to the next segment. In that segment, you each are going to have 2 uninterrupted moments. In those 2 uninterrupted minutes, Mr. President, you can say anything you want. I'm going to ask a question about race, but if you want to answer about something else, go ahead. But I think that the country would be better served if we allowed both people
Why
to
am I
speak
not
with
pro-choice?
fewer
Why am I still
interruptions. I'm
pro-life?
appealing
Is
to you, sir,
because
to do
I
that.
want the kid to live
Well,
and
frankly, you've
live
been
out his
doing more
life.
interrupting
Well, that's
than
all
he
right,
has.
but he does plenty.
Well, less
That's
than
why.
Sir, less than
Because if you're pro-choice, then you want to kill the baby.
Let's
And
please
technically,
continue on. The issue of race.
like
Vice
right
President Biden,
when a
you
girl
say that
is
President
pregnant, that's
Trump's
still an
response
embryo.
to
People
the
just say it's
violence in
embryo, but what?
Charlottesville 3 years
The
ago,
embryo of what?
when he
It's
talked
still a
about
human.
very fine people
That's how I
on
see it.
both
So
sides,
if it's a
was
human
what
inside of another
directly
human,
led you
it's still a human,
to launch
no
this
matter
run
if
for
it's
president.
inside or outside the body.
President Trump,
So
you have often
even if she
said
doesn't
that
want
you
the
believe
baby,
you
she
have
should just put it up for
fought
adoption so the baby
for
can live its
That's
own
the
life
name, right?
any
Wallace?
president
and just,
with
you
the
know,
possible exception
live a human life.
of Abraham
That's
Lincoln.
why-
My question
that's
for
why
the two
I-
of you is
for
why
that-
should voters
You know his name?
trust you rather than your opponent to deal with the race
It is
issues
Chris Wallace,
facing
right.
this country over the next 4
Trump
years?
sent an
Vice President Biden, you go first.
The U.S. also
It's about equity and equality. It's about decency. It's about the Constitution.
Was there something that happened in 2017 that happened?
Walked away from trying to
There was probably some sort of attack that he did that
for the whole of America, but we've never accomplished it. But we've never walked away from it like he has done. It is true. The reason I got in the race is when those people, close your eyes, remember what those people look like coming out of the fields carrying torches, their veins bulging, just spewing anti-Semitic bile, and accompanied by the Ku Klux Klan. A young woman got killed. And they asked the president what he thought. He said there were very fine people on both sides. No president's ever said anything like that.
Isn't that the same exact story you just used, Natasha?
Second point I'd make to you is that when Floyd was killed, when Mr. Floyd was killed,
yes,
there was a peaceful protest in front of the White House. What did he do? He came out of his bunker, had the military use tear gas on him so he could walk across to a church and hold up a Bible. And then what happened after that? The bishop of that very church said that it was a disgrace. The general who was with him said all he ever wants to do is divide people, not unite people at all. This is a president who has used everything as a dog whistle to try to generate racist hatred, racist division. This is a man who, in fact, you talk about helping African Americans. 1 in 1,000 African Americans has been killed because of the coronavirus. And if he doesn't do something quickly, by the end of the year, 1 in 500 will have
peaceful
been killed.
protest.
1 in 500 African Americans. This man is a savior of African Americans. This man cares at all. This man's done virtually nothing. Look,
where did he get his statistic from the coronavirus killing 1 in 1,000 African Americans?
What he did has been disastrous for the African American community.
Yeah.
So,
I never heard of that statistic. I've never seen it.
Americans trust you over your opponent to deal with racism.
He did a crime bill, 1994, where you call them
Are we going
super
to try and
predators,
call a
African Americans
biological
super predators, and
virus
they've never forgotten it. They've never forgotten it.
racist?
Jefferson.
No, sir, it's his 2 minutes.
So you did that, and they call you a super predator, and I'm letting people out of jail now that you have treated the African American population
let's call
community, you have
coronavirus
treated
racist
the black
and blame
community
Trump for it.
about as bad as anybody in this country. You did the 1990, and that's why if you look at the polls, I'm doing better than any Republican has done in a long time because they saw what you did. You call them super predators, and you've called them worse than that because you look back at your testimony over the years, you've called them a lot worse than that. As far as the church is concerned and as far as the generals are concerned, we just got the support of 250 military leaders and generals, total support. Law enforcement, almost every law enforcement group in the United States. I have Florida, I have Texas, I have Ohio, I have Portland. The sheriff just came out today and he said, I support President Trump. I don't think you have any law enforcement. You can't even say the word law enforcement because if you say those words, you're going to lose all of your radical left supporters. And why aren't you saying those words, Joe? Why don't you say the words law enforcement? Because you know what? If they called us in Portland, we would put out that fire in a half an hour, but they won't do it because they're run by radical left Democrats. If you look at Chicago, if you look at any place you want to look, Seattle, they heard we were coming in the following day, and they put up their hands, and we got back Seattle. Minneapolis, we got it back, Joe, because we believe in law and order, but you don't. The top 10 cities and just about the top 40 cities are run by Democrats and in many
Trump's
cases
not wrong in
radical
these
left.
situations.
And they've got you wrapped around their finger, Joe, to a point where you don't want to say anything about law and order. And I'll tell you what, the people of this country want and demand law and order, and you're afraid to even say it.
All right. I want to return to the question of race. Vice President Biden, after the grand jury in the Breonna Taylor case decided not to charge any of the police with homicide, you said it raises the question, quote, whether justice could be equally applied in America. Do you believe that there is a separate but unequal system of justice for blacks in this country?
Yes, there is. There's systemic injustice in this country, in education and work and in law enforcement and the way in which it's enforced. But look, the vast majority of police officers are good, decent, honorable men and women. They risk their lives every day to take care of us. But there are some bad apples. And when they occur, when they find them, they have to be sorted out. They have to be held accountable. They have to be held accountable. And what I'm going to do as President of the United States is call together an entire group of people at the White House, well, everything from the civil rights groups to the police officers, the police chiefs, and we're going to work this out. We're going to work this out so we change the way in which we have more transparency in when these things happen. These cops aren't happy to see what happened to George Floyd. These cops aren't happy to see what happened to Breonna Taylor. Most don't like it. But we have to have a system where people are held accountable. And by the way, violence in response is never appropriate. Never appropriate. Peaceful protest is. Violence is never appropriate.
All right,
what is peaceful protest? When they run through the middle of a town and burn down your stores and kill people all over the place,
that
and you
is
say
not
peaceful protest?
President Trump,
No, it's
I'm not
not,
asking.
but you say it is.
President Trump, I'd like to continue with the issue of race. I promise we're going to get to the issue of law and order.
The only thing
in a
is with
moment.
cops killing
This month, your
people,
administration directed federal
over
agencies to end
250,000
racial
deaths
sensitivity
come from
training that
corrupt
addresses white
doctors,
privilege
but we
or
don't
critical
protest
race
those
theory.
corrupt doctors.
Why did you decide to do that,
Yeah.
to end racial sensitivity training?
I just like
And
somebody to bring up
do
the
you
fact that the
believe there
BLM
is
riots
systemic racism in this country,
killed
sir?
more,
I ended it because it's
like,
racist.
has killed
I
more
ended it
people
because a lot
than
of people were
cops shooting
complaining that they
unarmed
were
black people.
asked to do things that were absolutely insane.
Unarmed people in
that
total.
It was a radical.
Well,
no, like
no,
as
no,
cops,
no.
like cops shooting unarmed black people.
Yeah.
In our schools, all over
Actually,
the place, and you know it, and
it's
so
double the
does
number.
everybody
What
else,
is radical-
and he would know.
what is
It's
radical
nuts. It's 9
racial
versus there's like
sensitivity
40
training?
dead in the
If you
BLM
were a
riots.
certain person, you had no status in life. It
That's-
was sort
yeah,
of a
that's more
reversal.
than,
And if you look at the people, we were paying
It's like
people
4
hundreds
times
of
as much,
thousands
3 or
of
4
dollars
times as much.
to teach
Not
very
only
bad
that,
ideas
white
and frankly
and black
very sick
together,
ideas.
that's still
And-
more
and
people
really,
in all
they were
those protests.
teaching
Yeah.
people to hate our
'Cause it's
country.
19
And I'm not
whites,
gonna do
9
that.
black.
I'm not going to allow that to happen.
That's 27,
We have to
28.
go back to the core
That's
values of this
20 people.
country.
That's
They were
28.
teaching people that our country is a horrible place, it's a racist place,
it's so
and they were
stupid.
teaching people to hate our country. And I'm not going to allow that to happen.
Vice President Biden?
Nobody's doing that. He's the
you-
racist.
you just don't know.
Here's the deal. I know a lot
Racist.
more about
You
this
don't
than he
know.
does.
Let him finish.
The fact is that there is racial insensitivity. People have to be made aware of what other people feel like, what insults them, what is demeaning to them. It's important to people know they don't want to. Many people don't want to hurt other people's feelings, but it makes a big difference. It makes a gigantic difference in the way a child
The core
is able to grow up
values.
and have a
Yes,
sense of
sir.
self-esteem. It's a little bit like how this guy and his friends look down on so many people. They look down their nose on people like Irish Catholics like me and grew up in Scranton. They
Yeah,
look
we
down
can't
on
really
people
remember
who
attack
have money. They
2017.
look down on people
Me neither,
who
Charlotte.
are
Yeah,
of a
are you able to
different
look it up?
faith. They look down on
Yeah.
people who are a different
Sounds
color.
good, Tower. Vote for
In
Mickey
fact,
Mouse.
we're all Americans. The only
Trump
way
wasn't
we're going to
doing
bring
it.
this
He
country
wasn't doing it.
together is bring everybody together. There's nothing we cannot do if we do it together. We can take this
Yeah, I
on
don't know
and
about the
we can
tax
defeat
returns, but
racism.
then again,
I mean,
does
President Trump,
does
During the
anybody
Obama
really have to
Biden
provide the
administration,
tax
there was tremendous
returns?
division. There was hatred. You look at. I
don't know if they have to. I don't know if in, like, politics you have
you
to,
go to
but, like-
many places.
like
Look
my
at
own
Oakland.
tax
Look
return,
what
I wouldn't
happened
want
in
someone
Oakland.
to
Look what
know how
happened
much
in
I
Baltimore.
paid
Look what
or
happened on- Frankly,
things like
it was
that.
more violent
Just because
than
that's
what
my
I'm
money,
seeing
though.
now.
I don't want someone
But
else to
the
know how much I've been
reason
paying.
This
is that the
ridiculous.
Democrats that run these
Absolutely
cities
ridiculous.
don't want to talk like you about law and order.
Violent
and you
crime,
still haven't mentioned.
violent
Are you in
crime.
favor of law and order?
I'm in favor of law. You
Are
following
you
it
in
and a little
favor
bit
of law and order? Go
Yes, I'm
ahead,
in
say
favor.
it.
You
Everybody's
asked a
in favor
question,
of
let him finish.
Law and
He
order.
loses left.
Law
You
and
gotta
order.
Let him answer.
Law and order with
All right,
justice,
see you, John.
where people get
Have a good
treated
night.
fairly. And the fact of the matter is, violent crime went down 17%, 15% in our administration.
All right.
It's gone up on his watch.
Went down much more in ours.
All right, we're now.
is
You're,
president of
Mr.
the
President, you're going
United
to
States of America.
We were
Mr. President,
breaking every
you're-
record in the
Mr.
book.
President, you're going to be very happy because
And
we're now going to
excuse
talk
me,
about law and order.
Places we had trouble were Democratic-run cities.
That's
and
exactly
those
my question.
Democratic-
There has been a dramatic increase in homicides in America this summer particularly, and you often blame that on Democratic mayors and Democratic governors, but in fact there have been equivalent spikes in Republican-led cities like Tulsa and Fort Worth. So the question is this really a party issue?
I think it's a party issue. You can bring in a couple of examples, but if you look at Chicago, what's going on in Chicago, where 53 people were shot and 8 died shot. If you look at New York, where it's going up like nobody's ever seen anything, the numbers are going up 100, 150, 200%.
Trump don't care, bro.
Crime. It is crazy what's going on. And he doesn't want to say law and order because he can't, because he'll lose his radical left supporters. And once he does that, it's over with. But if he ever got to run this country and they ran it the way he would want to run it, we would have, our suburbs would be gone. By the way, our suburbs would be gone. And you would see problems like you've never seen.
He would know a suburb unless he took a wrong turn.
Oh, I know suburbs.
He would not.
So
I was
Go ahead. Wait a minute.
I was raised in the suburbs. This is not 1950. All these dog whistles and racism don't work anymore. Suburbs are by and large integrated. There's many people today driving their kids to soccer practice and or to black and white and Hispanic in the same car as there have been any time in the past. What really is a threat to the suburbs and their safety is his failure to deal with COVID. They're dying in the suburbs. His failure to deal with the environment. They're being flooded. They're being burned out because his refusal to do anything. That's why the suburbs are in trouble.
I do want to talk about this issue of law and order, though. And in the joint recommendation that came from the Biden-Bernie Sanders task force, you talked about, quote, reimagining policing. Yeah. First of all, what does reimagining policing mean, and do you support?
It means.
Let me, if I might finish the question. What does reimagining policing mean, and do you support the Black Lives Matter call for?
He's going to really switch from law and order to COVID.
Policing?
Look. What I support is the police having the opportunity to deal with the problems they face. And I'm totally opposed to defunding the police offices. As a matter of fact, local police, the only one defunding in his budget calls for a $400 million cut in local law enforcement assistance. They need more assistance. They need, when they show up for a 9/11 call, to have someone with them as a psychologist or psychiatrist to keep them from having to use force and be able to talk people down. We have to have community policing like we had before, where the officers get to know the people in the communities. That's when crime went down. It didn't go up, it went down. And so we have to be engaged.
That's not what they're talking about, Chris. That's not what they're talking about. He's talking about defunding the police.
That is not true.
He doesn't have any law support.
Look,
he has no law enforcement
support.
That's not true. Almost nothing.
Look.
Oh, really? Who do you have? Name one group that supports you. Name one group that came out and supported you. Go ahead. Think. We have time.
We don't have time to do anything.
No, think. Name one law enforcement group that came out and supported.
Gentlemen, I think I'm going to take back the moderator's role, and I want to get to another subject, which is the issue of protests in many cities that have turned violent. In Portland, Oregon, especially, we had more than 100 straight days of protests, which I think you would agree. You talk about peaceful protests. Many of those turned into riots. Mr. Vice President, you say that people who commit crimes should be held accountable. The question I have, though, is, as the Democratic nominee, and earlier tonight you said that you are the Democratic Party right now. Have you ever called the Democratic mayor of Portland or the Democratic governor of Oregon and said, hey, you got to stop this, bring in the National Guard, do whatever it takes, but you stop the days and months of violence in Portland?
Sam, if you're talking about the immigrated families that lock children in cages, that was
former vice president.
under the Obama administration.
I've made it clear in my public statements that the violence should be prosecuted.
2012.
It should be prosecuted.
It was part of the
but you've never called
DACA
for the
Act,
people,
which is the distributed.
Excuse me, sir. You have never called for the leaders in Portland
I think it's like distributed
in Oregon to bring in the National Guard and knock
Children's
off
Act or something
100
like that.
days of riots.
They can, in fact, take care of it if you just stay out of the way.
DACA Act.
Oh, really? Oh, really?
June 12, 2012.
I sent in the
Started by the Obama administration, continued by the Trump administration.
And for 3 days,
President Trump,
Portland wouldn't do anything. I had to send in the U.S. Marshals. They took care of business.
Go ahead, sir.
And by the way, you know, his own former spokesperson said, you know, riots and chaos and violence help his cause. That's what this is all about.
I don't know who said that.
I do.
Who?
I think Kellyanne Conway.
I don't think she said that.
She said that. And so here's the, but here's the point.
Go ahead.
The point is that that's what he is, keeps trying to rile everything up. He doesn't want to calm things down. instead of going in and talking to people and saying, let's get everybody together, figure out how to deal with this. What's he do? He just pours gasoline in the fire constantly, and every single solitary time.
And to end this, button up this segment, I'm going to give you a minute to answer, sir. You have repeatedly criticized.
I have to answer his statement.
No, you have repeatedly.
Wait,
you have
no,
you've been talking back
and
forth.
Statement.
I'm asking you.
I would love to end it.
Sir.
I would love to end it.
You know, if you want to switch seats, we can do that. But I'm
the National Guard would be over. There'd be no problem.
Okay,
but they don't want to accept the National Guard.
You have repeatedly criticized the vice president for not specifically calling out Antifa and other left-wing extremist groups. But are you willing tonight to condemn white supremacists and militia groups and to say that they need to stand down and not add to the violence in a number of these cities, as we saw in Kenosha and as we've seen in Portland?
Sure,
are you
I'm
prepared to specifically
do it?
Well, go ahead, sir.
I would say almost everything I see is from the left wing, not from the right wing.
So what are you saying?
I'm willing to do anything. I want to see peace.
Then do it, sir.
Say it. Do it. Say it.
Do you want to call him? What do you want to call them? Give me a name. Give me a
white
name.
Supremacists and
white would you like me to condemn?
White supremacists and right
Proud Boys. Stand back and stand by. But I'll tell you what. Somebody's got to do something about Antifa and the left, because this is not a right-wing problem. This is a left-wing.
FBI director
This is a left-wing problem.
White supremacists. Antifa's an idea, not an organization.
Oh, you got it.
Not
no, that is an organization.
His FBI director said.
Well, then you know what?
No, we're done, sir. We're moving on to the next. We're moving.
When a bat hits you over the head, that's not an idea.
Everybody in your administration tells you the
Antifa
truth
is an organization along
I tell you what,
BLM. That's a whole different organization.
Antifa is a dangerous,
all right,
radical.
Gentlemen, we're now moving on to the Trump and Biden records.
They'll overthrow you.
When a president, I'm going to ask a question. When the president seeks a second term, it is generally a referendum on his record. But Vice President Biden, you like to quote one of your dad's
Antifa's an idea, not an
organization.
How much meth did he take?
Compare me to the alternative. And in this case, sir, you are the alternative. Looking at both of your records, I'm going to ask you, why should voters elect you president over your opponent? In this segment, President Trump, you go first, 2 minutes.
Because there has never been an administration or president who has done more than I've done in a period of 3.5 years. And that's despite the impeachment hoax. And you saw what happened today with Hillary Clinton, where it was a whole big con job. But despite going through all of these things, where I had to fight both flanks and behind me and above, there has never been an administration that's done what I've done. The greatest, before COVID came in, the greatest economy in history, lowest unemployment numbers. Everything was good. Everything was going. And by the way, there was unity going to happen. People were calling me for the first time in years. They were calling and they were saying, it's time maybe. And then what happened? We got hit, but now we're building it back up again. A rebuilding of the military, including Space Force and all of the other things.
Space Force.
A fixing of the VA, which was a mess under him. 308,000 people died because they didn't have proper health care. It was a mess. And we now got a 91% approval rating at the VA, our vets. We take care of our vets. 91%. But we've rebuilt our military. The job that we've done, and I'll tell you something, some people say maybe the most important. By the end of the first term, I'll have approximately 300 federal judges and Court of Appeals judges, 300, and hopefully 3 great Supreme Court justices. That is a record, the likes of which very few people, and you know one of the reasons I'll have so many judges? Because President Obama and him left me 128 judges to fill. When you leave office, you don't leave any judges. That's like, you just don't do that. They left 128 openings, and if I were a member of his party, because they have a little different philosophy, I'd say if you left us 128 openings, you can't be a good president, you can't be a good vice president. But I want to thank you, because it gives us almost, it'll probably be above that number by the end of this term. 300 judges. It's a record.
Wow. Looking at both of your records, why should voters elect you president as opposed to President Trump? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Under this president, we become weaker, sicker, poorer, more divided, and more violent. When I was vice president, we inherited a recession. I was asked to fix it. I did. We left him a booming economy, and he caused a recession. With regard to being weaker, the fact is that I've gone head-to-head with Putin and made it clear to him we're not going to take any of his stuff. He's Putin's puppy. He still refuses to even say anything to Putin about the bounty on the heads of American soldiers.
Your son got $3.5 million.
And by the way, my son...
Wait a minute. Mr. President, your campaign agreed to both sides would get 2-minute answers uninterrupted. Well, your side agreed to it, and why don't you observe what your campaign agreed to as a ground rule, okay, sir?
He never keeps his word.
No, I'm not asking. That was a rhetorical question. Go ahead,
back
sir.
30 seconds.
Yeah, yes,
okay.
you may have.
All right.
Go ahead.
So, thirdly, we're poor. The billionaires have gotten much more wealthy.
He's bringing
by
that
a tune
up in
of over $300 to
2020?
$400 billion more just since COVID.
The Putin thing.
You and the home,
Oh,
you
yeah.
got
Saying
less.
he's Russia's
You're
about
more
that
trouble
for a
than you
long time,
were
honestly.
before. In terms
They're
of
probably
being
Yeah.
3
more
years,
violent,
2 years.
when we were in office, there
Besides
were
that, like,
15%
just now, did
less
you see
violence
the
in
document I
America
sent
than
in
there
the
is
group
today.
chat?
He's
About that,
president of the
it's
United
like
States.
Clinton was
It's on
colluding.
his
It was
watch.
Oh, yeah,
Clinton
I did
With
see
colluding.
that.
regard to more divided,
That
the
shit's
nation can't
crazy.
stay divided. We can't be this way. And speaking
Who was
of
that?
my
Who
son,
was
the
the
way
person
you
that signed
talk
that
about the
document?
military, the way you talk about them
Let me
being
take a look.
losers and being and
John
just being
Ratcliffe,
suckers.
but it was an
My
FBI
son
investigation.
was in Iraq. He spent a year there. He got the Bronze Star. He got the Conspicuous Service Medal. He was not a loser. He was a patriot, and the people left behind there were heroes.
Really?
And I resent.
Are you talking
like
about
hell.
Hunter? Are you talking about Hunter?
I'm talking about my son, Bo Biden. You're talking about.
I don't know Bo. I know Hunter.
Yeah,
Hunter
you know
got
Bo.
thrown. Hunter got thrown out of the military. He was thrown out, dishonorably discharged.
That's not true. He
For
wasn't dishonorably.
cocaine use. And he didn't have a job until you became vice president. And once you
None of
became
that
vice
is
president,
true.
he made a fortune in Ukraine, in China, in Moscow,
That is simply
and various
not
other places.
true.
He
My
made a
son-
Biden's
fortune.
going to talk
My
about
son-
treatment
and
in
he
the
didn't have a
military.
job.
My son, like a lot of people you know at home, had a drug problem. He's overtaken it. He's fixed it. He's worked on it, and I'm proud of him.
But why was he
I'm proud of
given
my
tens
son.
of millions
All
of
right.
But he
dollars?
wasn't given
All right.
tens of millions of
given
dollars.
tens
That is
of
totally,
millions of
that's
President
totally
President Trump,
discredited.
you've already been through.
Totally discredited.
We've already been through this. I think the American people would rather hear about more substantial
So do I.
subjects. Well, you know, as the moderator, sir, I'm going to make a
I know, but when
judgment call
somebody
here.
gets $3.5 million
Okay, great.
from the
Let's
mayor
talk
of
about-
Moscow,
let's talk
That is
about-
not
I think it's a
true.
Gentlemen,
That
terrible thing.
report is totally
Why did he-
discredited.
They both go at
Mandy
it.
on that committee said it wouldn't
He's
work
like, I'm the
taxpayers' money.
moderator,
That
and they
report
just
is
keep
written
talking.
For political reasons.
You know, I'd like to talk about climate change.
So would I.
Okay. The forest fires in the West are raging now. They have burned millions of acres.
Yeah, California
they
fire is
have
crazy.
displaced hundreds of thousands of people. When state officials there blame the fires on climate change, Mr. President, you said, I don't think the science knows. Over your 4 years,
Bro,
you
why
have
is he-
pulled the
why is he
U.S.
defending
out of the
Hunter Biden?
Paris Climate Accord.
Okay, guys,
You have rolled
it's
back
not
a
Joe,
number of
but, like,
Obama
it was
environmental
under his presidency, and
records.
he had full control
What
over the
do you
situation.
believe about the science of climate change, and what will you do in the next 4 years to confront it?
I want crystal clean water and air. I want beautiful, clean air. We have now the lowest carbon. If you look at our numbers right now, we are doing phenomenally. But I haven't destroyed our businesses. Our businesses aren't put out of commission. If you look at the Paris Accord, it was a disaster from our standpoint. And people are actually very happy about what's going on because our businesses are doing well. As far as the fires are concerned, you need forest management in addition to everything else. The forest floors are loaded up with trees, dead trees that are years old, and they're like tinder, and leaves and everything else. You drop a cigarette in there, the whole forest burns down. You've got to have forest management.
What do you
You've got to have
believe?
cuts.
What do you believe about the science of climate change, sir?
I believe that we have to do everything we can to have immaculate air, immaculate water, and do whatever else we can that's good. You know, we're planting 1 billion trees, the Billion Tree Project, and it's very
Do you
exciting
believe
for a lot of people.
that human
This ends at 10:30.
pollution, greenhouse gas emissions contributes to the global warming of
I
this
think
planet?
a lot of things do, but I think to an
What
extent,
does he
yes.
say?
I think to an extent, yes. But I also think we have to do better management of our forests. Every year, I get the call, California's burning. California's burning. if that was cleaned, if you had forest management, good forest management, you wouldn't be getting those calls. You know, in Europe, they have forest cities. They're called forest cities. They maintain their forests. They manage their forests. I was with the head of a major country. It's a forest city. He said, sir, we have trees that are far more, they ignite much easier than California. There shouldn't be that problem. I spoke with the governor about it. I'm getting along very well with the governor. But I said, you know, at some point, you can't every year have hundreds of thousands of acres of land just burned to the ground. But, sir, that's burning down because of a lack of management.
Sir, if you believe in the science of climate change, why have you rolled back the Obama Clean Power Plan, which limited carbon emissions in power plants? Why have you relaxed?
Because it was driving energy prices through the sky.
Why have you relaxed fuel economy standards that are going to create more pollution from cars and trucks?
Well, not really, because what's happening is the car is much less expensive and it's a much safer car, and you're talking about a tiny difference. And then what would happen, because of the cost of the car, you would have at least double and triple the number of cars purchased. We have the old slugs out there that are 10, 12 years old. If you did that, the car would be safer. It would be much cheaper by $3,500.
In the case of California, they've simply ignored.
No, but you would take a lot of cars off the market because people would be able to afford a car. Now, and by the way, we're going to see how that turns out.
Why is Wallace making Biden's points?
The car has gotten so expensive because they have computers all over the place for an extra little bit of gasoline. And I'm okay with electric cars, too. I think I'm all for electric cars. I've given big incentives for electric cars. But what they've done in California is just crazy.
Vice President Biden, I'd like you to respond to the president's climate change record, but I also want to ask you about a concern. You proposed $2 trillion in green jobs. You talk about new limits, not abolishing, but new limits on fracking, ending the use of fossil fuels to generate electricity by 2035, and zero net emission of greenhouse gases by 2050. The president says a lot of these things would tank the economy and cost millions of jobs.
He's absolutely wrong.
And also, I just searched up Antifa.
If in fact,
it's the definition right here. It says it is a political protest movement. That's not an idea.
Energy to cheaper than or as cheap as
comprising
coal
autonomous
and gas
groups
and oil. Nobody's going to build another
affiliated by their militant opposition to fascism and other forms of extreme right-wing ideology.
Energy, number one.
So it's basically a left-wing.
We're going to make sure that we are able to take the
it's multiple left-wing groups because it says groups, not group.
On their electric vehicles, making sure that we can do that. We're going to put 500,000 charging stations and all of the highways that we're going to be building in the future.
But
we're going to build
it says right here in the definition of Antifa
is going to provide for the ability of us to take 4 million buildings and make sure that they, in fact, are weatherized in a way that, in fact, they'll emit significantly less gas and oil because the heat will not be going out. There's so many things that we can do now to create thousands and thousands of jobs.
Question: whose tie is better?
Consisting of autonomous
in terms of
groups.
Energy production by 2035. Not only not costing people jobs, creating millions of good-paying jobs, not $15 an hour, but prevailing wage. By having a new infrastructure that, in fact, is green. And the first thing I will do, I will rejoin the Paris Accord. I will join the Paris Accord because with us out of it, look what's happening. It's all falling apart. And talk about someone who has no relationship with foreign policy. Brazil, the rainforests of Brazil are being torn down, are being ripped down. More carbon is absorbed in that rainforest than every bit of carbon that's emitted in the United States. Instead of doing something about that, I would be gathering up and making sure we had the countries of the world coming up with $20 billion and say, here's $20 billion. Stop tearing down the forest. And if you don't, then you're going to have significant economic consequences.
What about the argument that President Trump basically says that you have to balance environmental interests and economic interests, and he's drawn his line?
Well, he hadn't drawn a line. He still, for example, he wants to make sure that methane's not a problem. You can now emit more methane without it being a problem. Methane. This is a guy who says that you don't have to have mileage standards for automobiles that exist now. This is a guy who says that Well, the fact is,
Not true.
it's all true. And
sentences
here's
are
Talking about the
struggling.
Green New Deal, and it's not $2 billion
I'm
or
t-
$20 billion, as you said. It's $100 trillion.
I'm talking about
where they
the
want to rip
Biden
down
plan.
Go for a
buildings
minute, and then you can go.
and rebuild the building.
No,
It's the
that is
dumbest,
not-
most
that
ridiculous.
is not
where
the case.
airplanes are out of
minute, sir.
business,
That's it.
where two-car systems are out, where they
Not
want
true.
to take out the cows too.
Not
That's not
true.
true either, right?
Not
this is
true.
this is a 100
Simply,
trillion.
look,
That's more money than our
that is-
country could make in
that is
100
simply
years if it were
not the case.
All right, let me,
It will destroy
because,
our
because I
country.
actually, wait a minute, sir. I actually have studied your plan, and it includes upgrading
is
4 million
son's
buildings, weatherizing 2 million
Oh, wow,
homes
that's
over
tough.
4
So,
years,
they probably
building
still are doing that,
1.5
maybe.
million energy efficient
Hey, what's up, Jason?
homes.
It's been a long time. How are you?
So the question becomes, the president is saying, I think some people who support the president would say that sounds like it's going to cost a lot of money and hurt the economy.
What it's going to do is going to create thousands and millions of jobs, good-paying jobs.
Let him finish, sir.
He doesn't know how to do that.
$100
They-
billion.
Yes.
The fact is, it's going to create millions of good-paying jobs, and these tax incentives to people for people to weatherize, which he wants to get rid of. It's going to make the economy much safer. Look how much we're paying now to deal with the hurricanes. By the way, he has an answer for hurricanes. He said maybe we should drop a nuclear weapon on them. They may.
I never said that
That's
at all.
he did.
You made it up.
And here's the deal.
You make up a
we are going to be in a position where we can create hard, good jobs by making sure the environment is clean and we all are in better shape. We spend billions of dollars now. Billions of dollars on floods, hurricanes, rising seas. We're in real trouble. Look what's happened just in the Midwest with these storms that come through and wipe out entire sections and counties in Iowa. They didn't happen before. They're because of global warming. We make up 15% of the world's problem. We, in fact, but the rest of the world, we've got to get them to come along. That's why we have to get back into the Paris Accord.
All right, gentlemen,
Wait a minute, Chris. So why didn't he do it for 47 years? You were vice president. Why didn't you get the world? China sends up real dirt into the air. Russia does. India does. They all do. We're supposed to be good. And by the way, he made a couple of statements. The Green New Deal is $100 trillion,
That is
not
not
$20
my
billion.
plan.
That's
The Green
well,
New
you want to
Deal
rebuild every
is not
building.
my plan.
You want to
All
rebuild
right.
every.
If he knew anything
wait, no,
about,
no, wait.
if he knew
Gentlemen,
He
anything
made a
about,
statement about the military. He said I said something about the military. He and his friends made it up, and then they went with it. I never said it.
Okay.
That is not
He
true.
did
Sir,
is he
you're done in
said
this segment.
He called
Mr.
the
Vice-
military
Mr. Vice President,
stupid bastards.
I
And he
did
said
not
it
say
on tape. He said
Holy
stupid
shit.
bastards.
Please,
He said it.
stop.
I would never
I
say
would
that.
Play
to the
it.
military.
Play it.
Go ahead.
You're
Mr.
on
Vice
tape.
President answered his final question.
The final question is, I can't remember which of all his rantings was the final question.
I'm having a little trouble myself, but and about the economy and about this question of what it's going to cost.
The economy.
I mean, the Green New Deal and the idea of what your
the
environmental
Green New
changes
Deal-
will do.
The Green New Deal will pay for itself as we move forward. We're not going to build plants that, in fact, are great polluting
He
plants.
said he
You're
didn't
gonna
say
build
it.
Green New
His
Deal?
own campaign
Pardon
just
me?
You
verified.
support
No, I don't support the Green
Oh,
New
you
Deal.
don't? Oh, well, that's a big statement.
I
That
support
means you
the
just
Biden-
lost the radical left.
I support
Oh, you
the
don't?
Biden plan that I put forward.
Okay.
The Biden plan, which is different than what he calls the radical Green New Deal.
All right, gentlemen, final segment, election integrity. As we meet tonight, millions of Americans are receiving
completely forgot where
mail-in
he
ballots
was.
or
That is
going to
not
vote
good.
early. How confident should we be that this will be a fair election? And what are you prepared to do over the next 5+ weeks? Because it'll not only
does
be to
support the
election
Green New
day,
Deal.
but also
All right, cool.
counting some ballots, mail-in ballots after Election Day. What are you prepared to do to reassure the American people that the next president will be the legitimate winner of this election? In this final segment, Mr. Vice President, you go first.
Prepared to let people
Yeah, I know
vote,
that
they
is
should go to
just
iwillvote.com. Decide
Ooh,
how
boy.
they're going to vote,
It's
when
about
they're
to
going to
get
vote, and what
spicy.
means by which they're going to vote. His own Homeland Security Director, and as well as the FBI Director, says there is no evidence
agree,
at all
Charlotte.
that mail-in ballots are a
Wait,
source
I don't know.
of being manipulated and cheating.
I don't
They
know.
said that.
Maybe.
The fact
I
is
would
that
probably
there are going to be
say so,
millions
just
of people
because-
because of COVID that are going to be voting by mail-in
You know,
ballots,
they
like
do-
he
they
does,
do
by the way.
use electricity
He sits
and
behind the
power to
Resolute
light the
desk and sends his
churches.
ballot to Florida. Number one.
I
Number
think
two,
the only way
we're
the
going to
churches
make
are
sure
built
that
are through
those people
donations.
who want to vote in
Through
person
people.
are able to vote because there are enough
So,
poll
like, if
watchers
I give you
are there
$1,
to
there's no
make sure
tax
they
on
can
that, so I
socially
don't think they
distance.
need to
The
pay
polls are
taxes.
open on time,
But then
and
again,
their
they also
polls
do
stay
pay
open until the
bills
votes are counted.
for
And this
electricity,
is all
so
about
I don't
trying
know,
to
it's like sort of
dissuade
back and
people
forth with
from
that.
voting because he's trying to scare people into thinking that it's not going to be legitimate. Show up and vote. You
That's how I
will
feel, Jason.
determine the outcome of this election. Vote, vote, vote. If you're able to vote early in your state, vote early. If you're able to vote in person, vote in person. Vote whatever way is the best way for you, because he cannot stop you from being able to determine the outcome of this election. And in terms of whether or not when the votes are counted, and they're all counted, that will be accepted. If I win, that will be accepted. If I lose, that'll be accepted. But by the way, if in fact he says he's not sure what he's going to accept, well, let me tell you something. It doesn't matter, because if we get the votes, it's going to be all over. He's going to go. He can't stay in power. It won't happen. It won't happen. So vote. Just make sure you understand you have it in your control to determine what this country is going to look like the next 4 years. Is it going to change, or you get 4 more years of these lies?
Mr. President, 2 minutes.
So when I listened to Joe talking about a transition, there's been no transition from when I won. I won that election. And if you look at crooked Hillary Clinton, if you look at all of the different people, there was no transition, because they came after me trying to do a coup. They came after me spying on my campaign. They started from the day I won, and even before I won, from the day I came down the escalator with our First Lady. They were a disaster. They were a disgrace to our country. And we've caught them. We've caught them all. We've got it all on tape. We've caught them all. And by the way, you gave the idea for the Logan Act against General Flynn. You better take a look at that, because we caught you in a sense, and President Obama was sitting in the office. He knew about it too. So don't tell me about a free transition. As far as the ballots are concerned, it's a disaster. A solicited ballot, okay, solicited is okay. You're soliciting, you're asking, they send it back, you send it back. I did that. If you have an unsolicited, they're sending millions of ballots all over the country. There's fraud. They found them in creeks.
I've
They
gotten over
found some
4
with the name
ballots so
Trump.
far.
Just happened to have the name Trump just the other day in a waste paper basket.
what?
They're being sent all
Ballots?
over the
4
place.
mail-in
They
ballots?
sent 2 in a Democrat area. They sent out 1,000
fuck?
ballots. Everybody got
They
2
sent me-
ballots.
yeah, they sent
This
me
is
in the
going to
mail
be a
4 mail-in
fraud like
ballots.
you've never seen. The other
You
thing,
vote like 4
it's nice
times.
on November
Stupid.
3rd, you're watching and you see who won the election. And I think we're going to do well, because
says
people
don't
are
discard,
really
but I
happy
throw
with
it
the
out
job we've
anyway.
done. But you know what?
No,
We
bro,
won't
don't.
know. We might
Don't.
not know for months,
Bro,
because
they're
these ballots
harvesting
are going
that
to be
shit.
all over.
Those things are
Take a
going
look
for
at what happened in
$200 a piece
Manhattan.
in
Take
some
a look at what
places.
happened in New Jersey. Take
Really?
a look at what happened in Virginia.
Yeah.
Other
You can
just
places.
sell them?
They're not losing 2%, 1%, which,
Yeah,
by the
the
way, is too much.
Democrats
An
are
election could be
buying them.
won or lost with that. They're losing 30
Using it for
and
fraud.
40%.
Look it up
It's
in
a
Minneapolis.
fraud, and it's
There's
a
a video of it.
shame. And can you imagine where they say
Minneapolis?
you have to have your
You said
ballot
the
in by
Democrats are
November
doing what?
10th?
They're
November 10th.
Using it for
that means
fraud?
that's 7 days
Yeah,
after
like they're
the
getting
election.
people's ballots
in
that they
theory,
throw out, and
should have
they're
been
like
announced.
Okay.
putting
We
in
have
fake
major
votes.
states with that.
Sir,
All run by
2 minutes
Democrats.
is 2 minutes.
All
You're-
run by
you're-
Democrats. It's a
President
fraud.
Trump,
It's a rigged election.
you're going to be able to continue. You have been
Oh,
charging for
is this-
months
is
that
this with the
mail-in
one guy?
balloting is going to be a
The Ilmar or
disaster.
something
You
like that?
say it's rigged.
Ilhan
You say it's
Omar,
going to lead
yeah.
to fraud. But in 2018,
Somebody sent me a picture of
the
her
last
training with
midterm
Al Qaeda
election,
the other day.
31 million people voted mail-in
I was a little bit
voting.
concerned.
That was
Yeah.
a quarter, more than a
concerned
quarter
about
of
that
all the
too.
voters that year cast their ballots by mail.
Let me see if I can
Now
find
that
it.
millions of mail-in ballots have gone out, what are you going to do about it? And are you counting on the Supreme Court, including a Justice Barrett, to settle any dispute?
Yeah, I think I'm counting on them to look at the ballots, definitely. I don't think I hope we don't need them in terms of the election itself. But for the ballots, I think so. Because what's happening is incredible. I just heard, I read
I found
today,
the
where
picture.
at least 1% of the ballots for 2016 were invalidated. They take them, we don't like them, we don't like them.
But what
They
are you
throw
going to
them
do
out
about it?
left
If there
and
are
right.
millions of ballots going out
What
right
you
now,
do
what
is
are
you
you
go
going
and
to do?
vote. You do a solicited ballot, and that's
I
okay,
know
or
your
you go and
complaint.
vote.
I'm asking you about the fact that millions of people
You go and vote. you go and
No,
vote
but
like
what I'm
they
saying is, what are
like
you
they
gonna do
used
about
to
the
in
fact
the
that
old.
millions of people?
You either do, Chris, a solicited ballot where you're sending it in, they're sending it back, and you're sending. They have mailmen with lots of it. Did you see what's going on? Take a
I'm
look at
sending
West
it in the
Virginia.
Steam
Mailmen
shit.
selling the ballots. They're being sold. They're being
Yo,
dumped in
he- yo,
rivers.
Trump is
this
talking
is
about it
a
right now.
horrible thing for our country.
There is no-
This
He's
is
talking
not,
about how
there's no-
this is
mailmen
not
are
going
selling
to
the
end
ballots to
well.
one another.
There's no
This
evidence
is
of that.
not going
Vice
to
President
end well.
Biden,
5 states
in fact,
have
See?
had mail-in ballots
It's
for the
crazy,
last
though.
decade or more, 5, including 2 Republican states. And you don't have to solicit the ballot. It's sent to you. It's sent to your home. What we're saying is, they're saying is that it has to be a postmark by the time, by Election Day. If it doesn't get in till the 7th, 8th, 9th, it still should be counted. He's just afraid of counting the votes because he
You're
knows
wrong.
the outcome.
You're
They don't
wrong.
let-
No, I want to continue with you on
I
this,
love
Vice
counting the
President
vote.
Biden.
Chris,
Because,
he's so wrong.
Because
when he
there's
makes
no
it happen.
evidence.
No,
Are you
excuse me.
crazy?
Vice President Biden, the biggest problem, in fact, over the years with mail-in voting has not been fraud historically. It has been that sizable numbers, sometimes hundreds of thousands of ballots are thrown out because they have not been properly filled out, or there is some other irregularity, or they missed
be fraud.
the deadline. So the question I have is, are you concerned that the Supreme Court with a Justice Barrett will settle any dispute?
I'm concerned that any court would settle this because here's the deal. When you get a ballot and you fill it out, you're supposed to have an affidavit. If you didn't know, you have someone say that this is me. You should be able to, if in fact you can verify that's you before the ballot is thrown out, that's sufficient to be able to count the ballot because someone made a mistake and not dotting the correct I. Who they voted for, testify, say who they voted for, say it's you. That is totally legitimate.
All right.
Excuse me, Chris, when you
I
have
a final-
80 million ballots.
Gentlemen, I have a final
Yo,
question.
right when Biden got done
You
talking,
know it
Trump
can't be
starts
done.
fucking
You know it
screaming.
can't. And already
All
it's
right,
been
so now,
fraud.
Mail
Yeah.
service delivers
wait a minute, gentlemen, in the
185
final
million
question
pieces of
is,
mail a day.
in 8
Yo, what's
states,
up,
we can keep
sick-
talking.
It's
In 8
a
states,
disgrace.
election workers are
Psychic.
prohibited.
Oh, Psychic.
currently
What's up,
by
man?
law,
Thank you for
8
joining the
states,
stream. Hope you enjoyed.
from
Thanks for
even
coming
beginning
by.
to process
And hello, Hector.
ballots,
Welcome to the
even
stream
take
too.
them out of the envelopes and
Yes.
flatten them until Election Day. That means that it's likely,
I like the
because there's
Green
going
New
to be a
Deal.
huge increase
If it makes
in
the environment
mail-in
good, then I
balloting,
like it.
that we are not going to know
I just
on
don't know why we're
election
spending
night who the
so
winner
much
is,
money.
and it could be days, it could be weeks,
Could be months.
until we find out who the
Still a good deal.
new president is. So first for you, sir,
All right, good night,
finally
Natisha.
for the vice president, I hope neither of you will interrupt the other. Will you urge your supporters to stay calm during
All right,
this
sounds good,
extended
Jason,
period,
too.
not to engage in
Welcome
any
back,
civil
Sam.
unrest, and will you pledge tonight
all right.
that you will
See you,
not
Jason. Have a
declare
great night, man. I'll
victory
catch you later.
until the election has been independently certified?
Thanks for coming by.
President Trump, you
I'm
go
urging
first.
my supporters to go into the polls and watch very carefully.
You just told me that
because that's
Puffers
what
did.
has to happen. I am urging them to do it. As you know, today there was a big problem. In Philadelphia, they went in to watch. They're called poll watchers, a very safe, very nice thing. They were thrown out. They weren't allowed to watch. You know why? Because bad things happen in Philadelphia, bad things. And I am urging my people. I hope it's going to be a fair election. If it's a fair
You're urging
election,
them what?
I am 100% on board. But if I see tens of thousands of ballots being manipulated, I can't go along with that. And I'll tell
what-
you
what
what,
does that
from
mean,
a
not go
common
along?
sense,
Does that mean you're
I'll
gonna
tell you
tell
what
your
it means.
people to take to the
It means you
street?
have a fraudulent election. You're
And what
sending
are you
out
gonna do?
80
And
million
what would you
ballots.
do about that?
They're not equipped to. These people aren't equipped to handle it. Number one. Number two,
Okay.
they cheat. They cheat. Hey, they found ballots in a waste paper basket 3 days ago, and they all had the name military ballots. They were military.
Bad
They
things
all had
happen in
the name Trump
Philadelphia,
on
and
them.
we're bad
Vice
watch
President
them.
think that's good?
Vice President Biden, final question for you. Will you urge your supporters to stay calm while the vote is counted, and will you pledge not to declare victory until the election is independently certified?
Yes, and here's the deal. We count the ballots, as you pointed out. Some of these ballots in some states can't even be opened until Election Day. And if there's thousands of ballots, it's going to take time to do it. And by the way, our military, they've been voting by ballots since at the end of the Civil War, in effect. And that's what's going to happen. Why was it not?
Yeah, I've
why
never
is
heard
it
of
for
mail-in
them
voting
somehow not
before
fraudulent?
this year.
It's the same
They
process.
say it's been going on for years
It's
and years, but
honest.
I've
No
never
one has
heard of it happening
established at
before.
all that there is
Yeah, if you
fraud
if you're
related to
deployed in
mail-in
fucking
ballots.
Bahrain,
That
then yeah,
somehow
you're
it's a
gonna do
fraudulent
mail-in
process.
It's already
ballot.
been
But
established. Take a look at Carolyn.
But even the
Vice
moderators said, like, over like years and years, the mail-in
They have
ballots
no
are
idea
always
President Biden, go
thrown
ahead.
out.
He has no idea what he's talking about. Here's
There's
the
always
deal.
something that
The
goes
fact
wrong.
is, I will accept
shit
it,
is
and he
so
will too.
fucking
You know why?
crazy.
Because once the winner is declared, after all the ballots are counted, all the votes are counted, that'll be the end of it. That'll be the end of it. And if it's me, in fact, fine. If it's not me, I'll support the outcome, and I'll be a president not just for the Democrats. I'll be a president for Democrats and Republicans. And this guy,
I want to see an
fact,
honest ballot count.
Gentlemen, you say that's the end of it? This is the end of this
An
debate?
honest
He
ballot count.
always goes like this and puts his finger
To
up and
be
says, hold on.
continued as in more debates as we go on. President Trump, Vice President Biden, it's been an interesting hour and a half. I want to thank you both for participating in the first of 3 debates that you have agreed to engage in. We want to thank Case Western Reserve University and the Cleveland Clinic for hosting this event. The next debate, sponsored by the Commission on Presidential Debates, will be 1 week from tomorrow, October 7th, at the University of Utah
October
in
7th.
Salt Lake City. The
All right.
2 vice presidential nominees,
see you
Vice
guys
President
next
Mike
week, Gil.
Pence and Senator Kamala Harris, will debate at 9 p.m. Eastern that night. We hope you watch. Until then, thank you.
Oh, it's over
And good
for
night.
you. Or, I got like a minute.
Well, it is hard to know where to start. I'm not sure how people are going to feel about that to be continued at
Damn,
the
bro,
end.
that shit was
and people have
wild.
to make their own judgments
So they're
about
having
how
another
they
debate
handle
next week,
themselves
October
tonight, who made
7th.
the better case, who offered
Yeah.
plans for the future, who told the
You don't feel like
truth,
Siege and just chat about
and who
it?
deserves to be president. Those are all judgments that are
You
going to be made
you
over the next
play Siege and
several
just talk
days
about
and
it?
weeks. But I have to speak
Yeah,
personally
sure.
here
Yeah.
as somebody who's watched
Well, I just
presidential
want to see
debates
the
for 4
aftermath
years,
of what's going on right
as
now.
somebody who's moderated presidential
I'm gonna look
debates,
through
as someone who's
Twitter for a
prepared
couple minutes.
candidates for
So
presidential
is
debates,
Ivanka
Why?
as someone who's covered
Russian?
presidential
I'm
debates,
pretty sure
that
she's
was
Russian, right?
the worst presidential
No,
debate I have
no.
ever seen
That's Trump's daughter.
in my life. A lot more
Melania
heat
is East
than
European.
light over
Oh,
some
she's Eastern
98
European. That's what I meant to
minutes.
say.
I want to go to the room right
Melania.
now. John Carl,
Where's she
you were
from?
there in the room. You cover the president. Your thoughts?
Siri, where's Melania Trump from?
George, the debate was a total mess.
He is from
It was a
Slovenia.
mess of interruptions, petty insults. I was in touch with some
No,
people on the floor,
no, Slovenia.
who told me they were stunned by what
Where's
they
my
were seeing
controller?
transpire on that stage. Donald Trump came across like a bully. There was an avalanche of untruth
How'd you get to
statements
stay
that came
on?
out. Joe Biden did not have a particular.
Okay, so you said she's from where? What country?
Slovenia.
Slovenia. I thought you said Soviet Union. Okay, so Slovenia. She's from Slovenia.
Particularly steady
Yeah.
performance. I could say, really honestly, it looked as if
Where's
both men
Slovenia?
lost
Like,
this
what
debate.
country is it
and in
next
that
to?
sense, the real loser is Donald Trump.
Slovenia
As we
is
said at
like
the start,
south of Czech Republic and Austria.
Uh-huh.
Slovenia. Or show me a map, dumbass. Slovenia in Europe.
She's...
Where is Slovenia in Europe?
Hold on, let me read the comments. Bye, gotta go now, so yeah. Alright.
Here's Slovenia.
What's
Oh,
up,
it's right on the
Bull? Can I have your
coast,
opinion on both
mostly
parties?
between Croatia and
Um,
Italy.
There were some things I agreed
Why is
with
my game
Joe
on my
Biden.
computer?
There was some more things I disagreed with than agreed with, but there were some things I did agree with, what he said. There were some things he said that I think, I can't think of the word, where he said it before. He said one thing before, but then changed it now. Maybe he changed his mind, or maybe he's still thinking, I don't know. But he did say a few things before prior.
How many
that
people do you
changed
think blocked
today.
me tonight?
Maybe like 5.
Nobody. Nobody. Nobody blocks me? The hell?
What's up,
I have 90
Testing and Lola J? Music. But with Trump, there was more things I agreed with and disagreed with, but there was a few things I was a little off with, that I didn't agree with him completely. But
Hello?
Hello?
Your mic is really.
Oh yeah, I'm only cutting out. It's just my mic, my headset.
Okay. What do you think the big takeaways were from that?
Takeaways?
Yeah.
Sounds good, Tower. I'll catch you tomorrow then. Tower said he's getting off tomorrow. But takeaways. What do you mean by takeaways?
Like any like impacts maybe on the election, like what the American people are gonna see out of that and they're gonna think after that.
Well, what we can see is that Trump is a really aggressive debater. Joe Biden, I mean, they both use their tactics where he's an aggressive debater where he talks in complete sentences, but he talks at a higher pitch and faster rate to get his opponent to stop talking. And then Joe Biden uses mob tactic where he stares at people and gets the people's attention and like tries to have them agree with him. So they both use their own tactics. There were a few things I saw that Joe Biden said that he has said differently before, and there was a few things that Trump said that I didn't know what he was talking about because I've never either heard of it or he just kept like going on about things that has probably happened from what he thinks he knows, or I don't know. Like with Joe Biden's son getting like 3.5 million from the Russians. I've never heard anything about that before, so I don't know where he got that.
That's pretty recent.
Okay.
There's a bunch of stuff coming out between ties between Obama's administration and Russia and the Clintons this week. Crazy
no,
shit.
I have not. What happened? What happened?
What? Huh?
I said what happened.
What do you mean what happened?
Did you? I thought you asked me. Did you hear about what happened this week between all the administrations and stuff?
Oh yeah, no, they were just like they were releasing documents on like the whole Russian scandal that they started against Trump. The Obama Biden administration had full knowledge that it was fake and that it was being staged to try and get the public to hate Trump. It was completely fake, and they knew about it the whole time.
Oh shit!
And that Hunter Biden was given like 3.5 million by the wife of the mayor of Moscow. And then he spent some of that money in some sort of human trafficking circle or something. Like this shit is crazy. It's like TV show shit.
Shit. That's some crazy shit. So what now? So what do you think is gonna go on next week, October 7th?
Honestly, I think Joe Biden's randomly gonna get coronavirus, and there ain't gonna be no more debates because he just got his shit kicked in. I'm gonna be honest, that was a bloodbath. Like, he was stuttering, and he was basically just submitting to Trump whenever Trump talked over him. But he would either just shut up, shake his head, or he would just keep saying the same two words he was saying when Trump started talking.
And he lasted the 90 minutes, so I don't think his administration needed him to take the breaks.
Yeah, and
he did well.
Also, he also turned to like the third grade insult tactic a lot more. He'd be like, "Oh, you clown!" Like, worst president America's ever had, or "Shut up!" And like instead of actually like using some facts to shut him down, which I don't think is a good look.
All right. Well,
so wait, which week is the vice presidential debate? Which I think is a complete joke, but
they have a vice presidential debate?
Because they know how mentally incontinent Biden is.
Shit, I don't know, bro. But I think Kamala will have a good fight against Pence just because.
I think she has a better chance than Biden does.
Yeah.
Next Wednesday. Why is it on a Wednesday? They should all be on Tuesdays.
I don't know why bro, he was like, next debate is a week from tomorrow. Why can't it just be a week from tonight? Like, I don't.
Yeah, it's on like.
Alright, so I guess this is next Wednesday at 9 o'clock again, so.
Is it 9 o'clock?
Yeah, 9 o'clock, I'm pretty sure, same time. But we'll see anyway, because it'll be like all over the news and shit.
Yeah.
But yeah.
We got some time leading up to that. And, yeah, I guess we'll see, but that was something else. That was like. I don't think. Was 2016 like that? Because that was just.
I had no idea.
That was vicious.
I wasn't, I literally just became like into politics within the past like 5 months. Like, I don't know.
Same.
I didn't know anything prior to that. I was talking to this girl last year who talked about Trump a lot. She was like, I think he's doing great. I think he's doing this and doing that. And I was like, bro, I don't even know what this fucking guy's doing. So I can't tell. I can't say anything. And then, I guess just because of her, I got into it. And I was like, oh, well, now I know the facts.
Yeah. I really started getting into it, like a lot. I always paid attention to it, but I never really got into it and started doing research myself until like this spring. Because like, first of all, coronavirus and the media immediately went to blaming Trump and everything. And there's some inconsistencies. Like Trump pointed out that at first Biden called him closing the border to China, he called it racist. And then later on, he said he didn't do it fast enough. So, I think that's some inconsistencies like that, but.
Well, I think he did it fast enough. I just don't think anyone else knew he did it fast enough.
Yeah, and especially with the pressure, don't be racist, don't be racist. And then you have the whole BLM shit breaking out, and I was like, yeah, this is, gotta pay attention to politics. This shit's crazy.
It is.
I just think this election has a lot at stake because, like, the radical left, they're trying to rework the entire, like, basically down to the Constitution.
Shit.
Are you familiar with the 1619 Doctrine?
No, what is that? Oh, actually, yeah, I think you either told me or someone else told me, but it's like, I literally just had it in my fucking head and I just forgot, like, everything about it. It was something about, something being one way, but it's actually another way, and they want to cancel it out because it's not that way. Something with
so 1619 Doctrine is basically America was founded on racist principles, and the Revolutionary War was not fought because of taxation without representation and quartering and stuff like that. It was fought purely to preserve a slave-owning nation and a slave-owning economy. And all of America's history has been purely to preserve racism. And so they basically want to rework America, burn it to the ground, and start over.
So that's basically what like Antifa's going for.
Oh yeah, that's why some people call it the 1619 riots, because like that's kind of what they're shooting for.
So would you?
I just saw somebody tweeted, somebody who have never seen post politics before, and they said, "I really just heard someone say Biden won tonight because he spoke in coherent sentences. I'm out."
Would you say that Antifa is an organization or an idea?
I'd say it's an organization, and I feel like there's levels to it. I feel like you got the active members of Antifa who are in the inside circle, then you got the people who are like, yeah, I don't like Trump, and I feel like burning some shit down, so I'm gonna go join these guys. And then there's the people who like just agree with their ideals but don't do shit. But yeah, I definitely don't think they're just an idea. I think they're an organization. What about you?
I think they're an organization, and also like I searched it up like during the debate because a few of my subscribers are on the left, and they said that Antifa is an idea, not an organization. So I searched it up and I found the definition of it, and it says that Antifa is a political protest movement comprising, which means like made up of.
It's made up of.
Yeah. autonomous groups affiliated by their militant opposition to fascism and other forms of extreme right-wing ideology. So it says autonomous groups, which a group is a thing, so I would assume...
Yeah. It's made up of groups, yeah.
Yeah, so it's people. It's not ideas. They are actual people.
What does it stand for? Is it like an abbreviation or something?
No, I think it's just like a name.
Oh, anti-fascist. I'm stupid.
Oh. Going against fascists.
Oh, political polls. Who's winning the debate 2020? 59% of Americans. This is completely unbiased poll. It was just this company just puts out unbiased polls. So far, 4,000 votes. 60% of Americans think Chris Wallace was unfair. And
Chris Wallace was unfair.
Surprisingly, 60% of Americans say Biden won the debate. Hello? Twitter is on something.
But then again, those social media is all run by, you know, all those organizations and shit.
Keemstar just invited Trump and Joe Biden to host a debate.
Keemstar?
That shit would be wild.
Keemstar. What the fucking... The one person to do it. Keemstar.
I'd like to see the Joe Rogan one. Because they'd all be smoking weed and they'd all be zoned out and they wouldn't be fucking screaming at each other like
the Joe Rogan
dying
experience.
cats. Yeah. I hate how, like, I have an American flag as my profile picture on Twitter. Every single thing I comment on, somebody goes after me for my profile picture.
Why? It's fucking America.
Yeah, like, goddamn, if you don't like it, give me your citizenship card and go to Iran. You like communism? Go to China. See how they treat you.
Yeah. See how they
we don't want you.
They fucking take control of your life and you can't do nothing about it.
Spend a couple weeks in Hong Kong. See what flag you're carrying around. I sent you a game invite if you want to play Siege for a bit.
Yeah. Alright, well, I'm going to end the stream on that note. And that was the 2020 presidential fucking debate. Donald Trump versus Joe Biden. Your vote matters. Next week, a week from tomorrow, says the moderator, part 2 of the debate will be occurring same time next week, 9:00 p.m. Joe Biden versus Donald Trump, part 2. So I'll see you guys next week, and that's the end of the stream. So thank you all for watching the stream. Hope you enjoyed it. Like always, stay healthy, stay sexy, and I'll see you all in my next live stream or video. Have a good night.